Hello and welcome to the LCS Countdown and day 2 of the Spring 2020 postseason, where we have another big best of 5 coming at you in just about 15 minutes. I am Dash, joined by Crumbs, Mark Z, and Jat to kick off the day, talk through the happenings of yesterday, and preface the big best of 5 we have today between 100 Thieves and C9. Gents, how you doing coming off a 4-game series just yesterday?
I'm ready. I really enjoyed yesterday. It was back and forth. We had all the drama, the substitution, the pauses, all that stuff. So I'm excited to see what we got today.
Yeah,
back and forth yesterday.
I'm surprised there wasn't 5 games. I'm surprised we're not still playing. Really.
Fair enough. That 4th game, did look like it could go either way, but it was Evil Geniuses who was able to eke it out in the end in a 3-1 series. As we take a look at the bracket, we'll see that Evil Geniuses has moved on to the next round, where FlyQuest moves down to the losers bracket, where they'll be facing off against Golden Guardians to do battle and hopefully move right back on up and have a chance at the finals. That means today we have the 1 seed Cloud9 versus 100 Thieves, a big ticket matchup. Our 17-1 dominant team against 100 Thieves, which they chose as their opponent. I'll call out once again. They chose the 3 seed to play here as their first best of 5.
Yeah, and that's not a choice that is an easy one to make, considering that 100 Thieves finished the second half 6-3, so they were looking really good, but not as good as Cloud9, obviously.
Well, let's talk about how good this Cloud9 has looked throughout the season. 17-1, again, tying the record for best LCS split of all time.
Want to hear some bonkers C9 stats?
You know what, Jad? I would love to hear some bonkers.
Yeah, we got a
C9
whole thing
stats
prepared about the bonkers C9 stats. I mean, the fact that they're number 1 is the least impressive thing. It's the fact that they went 17-1 during the regular season. And then, these aren't just best in the split, these are best all time. Drake stats, best Herald control all time. Can you imagine getting 86% of Rift Heralds throughout the entire split? 94% of the time they get first turret, and then this is a major lead and major deficit. That's the most time with a major lead ever, and the fewest amount of times with a major deficit ever. And we're talking LCS history. So they're impressive.
Did you see that percentage? 3.1% of the time with major deficit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying they're pretty good, if I followed that mostly correctly?
It might be favorites.
I think the stats suggest that they're pretty good, but I want to contextualize just how good this 17-1 Cloud9 is, and I want to do it by comparing them to the 2 other teams we've had in North America who've been lucky enough to go 17-1. Of course, that's 2016 Immortals, as well as 2016 TSM, but you can see here that all-time comparison. So this is all-time, guys. This is taking their averages of gold difference at 10, 15, 20, and 30, and they are first all-time across all LCS splits in these gold averages in every single game.
That's nuts. Also getting 1,700 gold in 5 minutes between 10 and 15 minutes. Like, the fact not only is like, oh yeah, they're first, but like how quickly these numbers are accelerating. Everything about this C9 roster is hype. There's no way not to be excited when they play.
That's Rift Herald and first turret right there is what they're doing.
The only caveat I'll give is there is more gold in the early game now than there was in 2016. Where like the next closest team with Immortals because of turret plates and a few other systems that have been added to the game, but it's still just absurd that they're that first in that many categories.
Right, leave it to Jet to bring us back down to earth there with a little bit of leveling the playing field, but I think it is an important table setting. But let's talk about, while statistically they look great, I think it's also important to recognize that our previous 17-1 teams had different trajectories through the postseason. You remember a disappointing postseason for Immortals as compared to a TSM.
I also actually think that's a really interesting point to set up the expectations for Cloud9, because those rosters had all of these superstars that had achieved so much or were really close to having this impressive pedigree, whereas this Cloud9 roster started the season from players that just didn't even get a chance to start, like Blabber or Sven that had a tough season on TSM. So this is a team that really wants to win this despite all the circumstances that have happened into this split. So it matters a lot, and they're going to give it their all, which makes them even scarier because everybody else is just thinking all of these other aspects like their identity, how do we play remote, whereas Cloud9 continues to focus on the victory, which is really important for the career of a lot of these players, I feel.
Yeah, I think I think they're the only team that doesn't have an NALCS championship on it in playoffs, if I remember correctly. So that's just crazy. Think about, yes, Sven does have a really long history, a storied career in EU, but at least in North America, the most dominant team that we have is also, in some sense, the least experienced or accomplished, which means it's really, really important for them to actually complete this incredible season with a championship and not just bust her out in quarters and stuff like what happened with Immortals.
And if you actually think, just to extend on the talk of winning an NALCS title, Sven still has the chance to be the first player to have an EU title and an NA title. He thought he was going to be competing with Brox at this split because everyone thought it was going to be TL versus C9. Turns out it's just Sven going for that at this point.
Yeah, very true, very true. And while we talk about how good this Cloud9 is, but we color it with the idea that they are not an infallible team, and no team in the history of LCS has been infallible, I think it might surprise some that Cloud9 then chose the higher seed opponent heading into playoff. Thankfully, the unmatched mind of C9's coach REBROAD was able to share his thoughts on the decision. Here you have it. We believe our playstyle counters theirs better than the other team.
Simple and sweet.
I like this because
simple and sweet.
The standings were so close that to even look at the teams and decide that the standings translated directly into their skill set, I think was really too tough. So looking into specifically play styles, I like that Reaper took this approach because I think that the Cloud9 team has similar strength to 100 Thieves. They're just more refined and have been working better this split, like the mid 2v2.
Mark, what do you think he's referencing when he's talking those play style differences or the matchups? Like where are you seeing it in this matchup that is advantageous?
I think it would have to be talking about mid lane. I know he didn't say it specifically, but Ryoma is a weaker opponent probably than PoE. PoE was incredible yesterday in his series, so I think they wanted someone that would allow Nisqy to unlock and move around the map easier. It's so important for C9 to have Nisqy be active and getting hit over to the other lane. So even though someday is a much bigger problem than probably anything else that they would face from any of their first round opponents individually, if Nisqy can get up there and they can 2 and 3 man him, then it's not as big of a deal.
Now, this might be the matchup that Cloud9 wants, but as you mentioned, Mark, it's not all doom and gloom for 100 Thieves, as we're going to send it over to Kobe and Captain Flowers to dive into their secret weapon, and that's Someday in the top lane.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I am Clayton Captain Flowers Reigns, and once again, my cohort in this online co-streaming commentary cooperation is my boy Sam Kobe Hartman Kinsler, standing right next to me here, not in person, but in spirit. He's always right there. He has had some really impressive moments here for this team. A lot of people attribute a bunch of their wins to him. Yeah, Someday just able to absolutely pop off in this top lane, making sure things get done for the team, even when it seems like they have no other way out. You can see the quadra kill replay happening right now. The man flexing his muscles there with the World Ender, making everybody else into nothing but a knee bender as they're forced to hail the king in the top lane.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me, Kobe?
Yes.
All right. Hell yeah.
As we were trying to say, Someday has been such a big carry for this team, and he has been the member performing this entire split, 400 Thieves. Even when, the first round of Spring Split, they were struggling. Now in the second round with Cody Sun stepping up, Ryoma having better games, it really balances out the map for 100 Thieves and it might allow them, some more room to give Someday that help and elevate him to the next level.
And honestly, 100 Thieves are going to need somebody to be stepping up today, going up against Cloud9. I don't think you could poll pretty much anybody who's been watching the split closely and not expect Cloud9 to have the edge here in this matchup. So he'll definitely have to pull out all the stops here on this one. We'll see if he can make it happen, but he's going to have to really flex those muscles. And that's what we're looking for here for Game 1. But before we hand it back to the analysts, Audley chatted with the 9th and final player of the week here for Spring Split, Cloud9's Vulcan.
What's up, everyone? Audley here with our final player of the week. I have Cloud9 support Vulcan with me. Vulcan, congratulations on taking the final award. And I do have to ask you, because so many of your other teammates have already won this award, were you nervous about missing out in the final week, that they were going to continue to bully you if you didn't pick it up?
Well, first of all, thank you. And I wasn't too nervous. Well, I got robbed a few times, so I didn't get the honor, but I was a better player in some of the weeks, so it wasn't too much of a deal for me. And there's also Eric, or LCS, we didn't win one, so I would have had a buddy to cry with that night if I didn't win it, so it was fun.
Well, now have you joined the pack of players and everyone picks on LCS?
Yeah, now we bully him, so that sucks for him, but that's the way of the world, I guess.
Great. Yeah, I know it's funny that you said you were robbed a couple times because you had an amazing split, and now it's all coming down to this in playoffs. You guys chose 100 Thieves as your first opponent, so I just wanted to ask the decision-making behind that.
Yeah, some people were saying that it's like a 5 or 4D chess move where we think that 100 Thieves, if we do beat them, they'll take down TSM and we don't want to face them, but it's nothing like that. We just think that for us specifically, we have a better chance of beating 100 Thieves than we do Fly. We think the lane matchups, like player to player, we have a stronger mid laner, we have a stronger bot lane. We think that obviously the best player is Someday, and Eric is a great player as well, so we can hold him. If we need him to carry, he can carry. If we need him to be a pressure sponge, he can do that. So I think it's just like a specific matchup where we think we have a better chance of beating 100 Thieves than we do Fly.
Well, Vulcan, thank you, and best of luck to you and the team moving on into that game. And for everyone else, if you want that Vulcan Player of the Week statue, tweet at MasterCard Nexus, and you could be going home with a little mini Vulcan, and then you too could join in on bullying LCS. But thanks for watching. That's it for us here.
He did it. Week 9.
Finally.
He did it. He was not robbed. He joins 3 of the other members of Cloud9 on the little shelf of statues back in the studio. That
Are people still putting those up?
To go see when we're finally. That's a good question.
Are we printing
Can we get
them
a
out?
shot? Can we get confirmation? Are they on the POTW shelf or not? But let's talk Vulcan, because this is a guy who deserves so much credit for the success of Cloud9. Again, Sven and Vulcan together coming in as a brand new bot lane and demonstrating dominance across the league.
He began on Clutch last split, being one of the more aggressive shot callers for the team, engaging so many times with the Leona with their kind of mid-game Rumble Kiana. So the Leona and his aggressive play got a lot of traction, and we felt like he was good, but didn't really know just how good he was until he joined with Sven, and suddenly it's like the best 2v2 we had in this split.
Right, and again, so much of these accolades for Cloud9 do feel like they come because the whole team is operating on such a high level, and we did touch on it yesterday, but I think it's worth highlighting once again that we have 5 members of our first All-Pro team playing in this quarterfinal today. It just so happens that all 5 of them are on the same team.
Yeah.
And that's Cloud9.
I mean, the fact that they went 17-1 and then the next closest team was 10-8, and you're voting on individual split performance, I'm happy that all 5 of them made it there. I think there were definitely some fair arguments for Someday sneaking in there because of how many games it seemed like he solo carried 400 Thieves, but this, for all 5 of them, I think is well-deserved and well-earned.
I mean, you saw how many stats we were running through about how dominant they were, too. I mean, once that happens, it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, they're just getting voted for because they're in first place. It's like, no, they are so dominant that they all deserve the individual accolades that come with it.
And that dominance, luckily Azael made, I think, 2 pro view to Lane Kingdoms of LCS and Niski, so we actually got to see just how good they are in laning, whether it's being aggro or defensive. So kind of feels bad for LCS that doesn't get the safe side recognition, but that's what top lane is about. You do your job without the
no player of the week.
I mean, it speaks volumes when you get an entire segment made about you in a losing matchup and how well you navigated it. We did get a taste of the new playoff format yesterday as well, but for another reminder on why the number 1 and 2 seeds kicked off the postseason as opposed to previous years, here's Riv with the playoff rundown.
With Spring Split 2020 coming to a close, here's a look at our format for the upcoming LCS playoffs. 6 teams will compete in 8 separate rounds. The first seed team will pick between the 4th and 3rd seeds as their opponent for the first match. The second seed will play against whomever was not picked. Losers from the 2 matches will enter the lower bracket and face off against the 5th or 6th seed team. Teams who win advance to the next round. The winner from the upper bracket goes straight to the spring final, and the loser gets one more chance in the championship qualifier, up against the winner of the lower bracket. For the full schedule, visit watch.lolesports.com.
So there you have it, just a quick refresher on the playoff format, as it is a little different this time around. A very exciting format, though, again, because I love this opportunity for teams to get another run through and really test the mettle of who would be the best in a best-of-5 series. But, gentlemen, that brings us to our game today, our second quarterfinal, Cloud9, the number 1 seed against the number 3 seed in 100 Thieves, and prediction time for the 3 of you. All 3 of my analysts were correct yesterday in their 3-1 call for EG over FlyQuest, and Jat is jumped the gun. He's jumped the gun.
No toe.
Oh my goodness! And everyone follows suit. Cloud9 predictions across the board, but we have to include that all-important game score. So, Jat, since you seem to be chomping at the bit, my friend, go for it.
I predicted game 1, Mark predicted game 2, and Crumbs predicted game 3. I think that's how we're doing.
There's another one. There's another way around
prediction.
this, by the way.
Okay.
Look at the logo. There's 3 9s in there. It's 3-0.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was gonna say we had 3 logos up, so it was a 3-0. There were no 100 Thieves logos up. I thought that was the metaphor.
A quick and easy. Quick, let me get it. Let me get a 100 Thieves logo. I'm going for the 3-1. And I'll put the 100 in there.
I think overall, we've obviously had the bit of discussion about whether or not Cloud9 should have picked 100 Thieves or FlyQuest, and I think there are arguments for picking either team, and ultimately it will be judged in hindsight. So we all know Cloud9's massive favorites in this, and I think in order for 100 Thieves to win, a couple things actually have to happen. So the most likely thing to happen in a 100 Thieves upset is that Someday can somehow smash FLICKR, even though they're both incredibly good top laners. But even if that happens, I think C9 still wins, so they would need yet another thing to go well, where Ryoma can have a pop-off, or Cody Sun can have a pop-off, getting a Felios in 3 games in a row or something. But ultimately, I think we're all pretty aligned that C9 is a massive favorite.
Yeah, I think the point about Cody is where I end up the most too, where he has been actually really good in lane as well, whereas we've always known he's been a great late game team fighter, but some of his Aphelios play, especially in week 9, for example, being really aggressive and using his guns correctly, they need him to be able to do that to hold down Sven and Vulcan in lane as well. And if they can maybe win both side lanes, then an upset starts being more possible, but I'm ultimately still with Jat, where I think C9 is just too good about being able to set all these different things up for the whole team.
Well, my analysts are painting a scary picture for 100 Thieves, but we know it's been done before. A 17-1 1 seed has been taken down in the postseason, so it can be done. We'll have to see if this 100 Thieves is up to the task. With Cloud9 versus 100 Thieves just about ready, it's time for us to head over to Summoner's Rift for game number 1. Enjoy.
In a split where nothing has really gone the way people expected it to, why would playoffs go as expected? Coming into the 2020 season, everyone still thought Team Liquid would be the best team.
And they are the best team North America has ever produced.
But they're kind of stuck, and everyone's waiting for them to be good. Meanwhile, Cloud9 is absolutely dominating.
How powerful the ability is. Oh!
Tied for the best regular split record in LCS history.
He's looking to do body slam here.
There was this revolving door of teams. Any of these 5 teams can make a move for second. And then there's a global health pandemic, and everything shuts down. No one really knows what's going to happen to the LCS. No one really knows what's going to happen. 2 weeks after that, the LCS can return online. Teams playing online, casters casting from their homes online, and again, no one really knows how it's going to feel. But you do know it's going to be LCS. As we roll into week 9, all the stories were there. Cloud9 had the opportunity to end Team Liquid's streak
Vulcan and Sven are going for a back door.
by denying them playoffs.
Revenge is coming through, and Cloud9 will shut down Team Liquid.
Golden Guardians, people had them as the worst team in the league, and now they're going to playoffs after winning 3 games in a row.
That is a solo kill right there.
TSM beats C9. Everyone's wondering if they're going to emerge as the true contender.
Yerkson assassinates the backline.
We end up getting a 3-way tie for second between FlyQuest,
Nice karma to Kobe Sun. Power of evil.
100 Thieves,
Someday picks up the Quadra.
and EG actually ends as the second place team.
Shizuke's got a triple. Make it even more.
Cloud9 is an absolute behemoth.
Flabber goes in.
And for the first time in a long time, they go in as prohibitive favorites.
Combo, there's your combo.
But if LCS has taught us anything, and if this split has taught us anything, it's that you never really know
On this game.
what's going to happen next.
Hello and welcome here to game number 1 of the second series of the 2020 Spring Playoffs. Cloud9, 100 Thieves, best of 5. Take 3 and you walk away with the win. I'm Captain Flowers, this is Kobe, and we're about to jump into Champion Select here for that first game.
And I am very excited to see how Champion Select develops over the course of this series, because Cloud9 have been very clear that Reaper, the coaching staff, the team, they all feel like their style will counter 100 Thieves. And that is what we're assuming is alluding to 100 Thieves having negative gold differences on average in their games from 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and 20 minutes. A lot of these early stages where Cloud9 make a lot of moves. And C9 in their last game versus 100 Thieves showed what Champion Select looks like when they want to attack this style. They got Kalista top for Licorice last time, a super strong top lane for him to punish Someday, not allow Someday, you know, this big star for 100 Thieves, any sort of agency in the top lane. And then they also got Nisqy and Blabber, the classic combo of Gragas and Yasuo, which they have used over and over for multiple years.
Well, as we see the first bans coming through here, there's going to be some focus on the AD carry pool coming out from Cloud9, removing both Xayah and Varus from Cody Sun's possibilities. And you mentioned Gragas Yasuo. Well, the combo doesn't work if either piece is missing. Gragas is the more malleable part of that duo, and 100 Thieves decide to ban it away.
Yeah, not only is Gragas an integral part of this combination for jungle mid synergy with Yasuo, but also Blabber's just a beast on Gragas. Probably the best Gragas player that we've seen in the LCS. He may be the best jungler in the LCS, so that probably goes without saying. Aphelios, I think, is a very good steal away from Cody Sun, though, because this is one of the champions where Cody Sun has emerged as another hard carry for 100 Thieves. You know, the big flash forward everyone's going to point to end the game, where he's shouting, "This is season 10." So I think Cloud9 with a good first pick steal.
100 Thieves. Let's see what they want to go for their second pick here after grabbing that Syndra. I remember during the in-houses that we did the first weekend that LCS was postponed, and we all had to get used to this work from home type of thing. When we had Double Lift on the broadcast talking to me and Isaac and Avali during one of the games, he talked about how Syndra is such a powerful champion right now. Not too surprised to see that go early on in the draft here. And hey, there's Kalista for 100 Thieves.
All right, you don't have to go too far back to analyze this Champion Select. They steal away the Kalista. This is going to be the reverse if they actually lock in the Ornn. Last time around, Someday was the one who decided to take the defensive route. And Ornn, you try and stack up. You get your Bramble Vest, you just try and stack up your defenses, because there's nothing you're going to be able to do to push the Kalista out of lane or stop the Kalista from gaining that pressure from farming. Of course, Ornn's obvious goal is to scale.
And scale he does. Turns out when you give your buddies a whole bunch of freebies, upgrade them from the Walmart value version of the item to the super mega Louis Vuitton Gucci version, it makes all your characters really, really strong. It sort of just gives you free 5,000 gold. That's pretty insane. And along
So you're saying it's all about branding for the item,
it's all about brand power with Ornn. He slaps his name on there, and all of a sudden, everybody wants to throw $600 at a $20 item. Now, they're also going to have some more CC in frontline in the form of the Nautilus. We've seen this champion be very powerful, especially when paired with something like an Aphelios. But the response from 100 Thieves, they're going to give Kalista her tried and true diamond bowling ball in the Taric.
And this is one of the reasons why Kalista has risen to the very top of priority across the world with multiple leagues, because you can swap her down to the bottom side. She's also an extremely strong bottom laner, not just a top side solo laner. So one of the best pairings, of course, are these team fight supports. Taric is definitely one of those. Both of these champions being able to make the other one invulnerable or untargetable provides a very difficult conundrum for the enemy teams to try and attack when you're looking at early dragon fights and you're trying to gain control of bottom half of the map.
And Kindred banned away, Aatrox banned away, Olaf banned away, 100 Thieves, seeing that the jungle pool is still targetable, they want to again focus on Blabber, who I think has just had an absolutely phenomenal split for himself, stepping up into the shoes of former MVP jungler Svenskeren from last split, and just really bringing this team to the level they need to be to play as aggressively as they are. And with those bans now all resolved, and Trundle being the final ban for Cloud9, 100 Thieves feels comfortable and confident picking the Sejuani.
It's pretty funny because Blabber was tweeting out that he wanted to play some more fun champions, and I specifically asked him what would be those champions for me to use in solo queue, and Kindred was one of his first answers that he had been abusing, so I like that ban there. Obviously, 100 Thieves also trying to take away some of the counters to Sejuani. Trundle and Olaf are both banned, so that leaves a very good scenario for a Sejuani pick. I think Midos will feel very comfortable. And then Blabber has to be on something like Jarvan, maybe, that can be engaged for the team, but also can have some early priority.
Let's see what it's going to be here, Cloud. Ooh! All right. We're getting a little bit spicy in here for Cloud9. The Nocturne, the final pick here for the draft in game number 1. This is not one of those junglers that we've seen be a staple so far in Spring Split. However, it is a jungler that can gank pretty effectively at level 3, and provided he's using the standard lethal tempo build, he is an immaculate duelist.
And if you are looking at 100 Thieves and you think Someday is this biggest threat, the brightest star on the team, Nocturne's ultimate, you can turn off the lights before you attempt to play and try and deny or at least delay the teleport that could come in from Someday, from the top laner, and then you just try and take out the rest of 100 Thieves before he shows up, and he'll arrive to numbers disadvantage, let's say.
Also makes it harder to aim the ship's cannons with the ulti. Gangplank can always contribute across the map by just targeting, clicking with R, and if it's hard for him to see, he might just shoot it into the woods and have a little bit of an oopsie. So always lots of advantages you can find there with the Nocturne. I'm excited to see something a little bit spicier than we usually get here in the first game, and it looks like everything is all locked in and ready to go, and we'll be heading to Summoner's Rift here very shortly. Very shortly indeed. We are just about loaded in here. Cloud9 and 100 Thieves. Remember, a bit surprising for some people that 100 Thieves was chosen by Cloud9 as they were the higher ranked of the two opponents. Cloud9 could have chosen. FlyQuest ended up being 4th. 100 Thieves in 3rd after all the tiebreaker dust was settled. But this seems to be the matchup that Reaper believes his team is going to do better against, and that is the one they have chosen.
Exactly, and a lot of people's eyes are on the mid lane. Mark brought it up on the analyst desk, but Ryoma seems like the type of target that Niski and Blabber can abuse. And if you have Zoe and Nocturne, it's very easy to set up pressure on a Syndra. You can see that Ryoma has taken Cleanse in addition to the Flash because of this, so very defensive-minded summoner spells, but you have to go beyond that and try and track the Nocturne. Something about Nocturne is you can't just ward around the mid lane to protect your mid laner anymore. It takes invades, and you have to go ward the actual camps. If you can ward raptors or maybe wolves, then having 2 of the camps warded, you can eliminate the other ones as a possibility and try and figure out where Blabber is going and where he's going to gank next.
Now, the one thing we also have to consider about Nocturne, he is up against a Sejuani. Now, although this champion is not one of those super duelists at level 3, something you might think of along the lines of an Elise or something that could be very scary early on, the Sejuani is going to scale into a monster, and should Blabber fall behind the pace of the game on a jungler like Nocturne, he goes from being this incredibly scary ballistic death missile to he makes the 80 carry jump for a second, go, oh, what was it? Oh, it's just Nocturne, never mind. He does half your health bar, he instantly dies, everybody question mark pings him, and that's the end of the day. So I really want to see that trademark Cloud9 aggro play make things happen early in this game in order for this pick to succeed.
Yeah, and the scaling that you're talking about is team fight scaling. There's no way that Nocturne ever is going to bring anything to this team fight because he's also playing Nocturne into a Taric, which is going to make the entire team immune. You can just drop the Taric ultimate when the lights get turned off, and if you're grouped up as 5, that is basically full security. But the Nocturne, like you're talking about, really shines in the earlier stages. As soon as you get to that level 6, trying to pressure the lanes, and we think that he'll probably go mid. This season, Cloud9 have dominated the LCS by not waiting around. They have not wasted any time. They have gone out to very early leads. But for 100 Thieves, this entire series will come back to Nadeshot's motto, which is take what is not given to you. This series will certainly not be given to them. They are going to have to take it out of the hands of Cloud9.
And Blabber's invading to try to take some of the jungle right now from Meteos. Meteos did start on his red buff, but did not clear the entire top side quadrant there. Instead, just opting to go towards the bottom side, grab both buffs, and then clear back towards that red area. But it looks like Blabber will be able to grab that chicken camp and then immediately make a transfer down here to the mid lane. Niski lands the Sleepy Trouble bubble. Paddlestar also going to follow that one up. Blabber makes his way into the lane, but honestly, he's not there in time to add any extra damage. But Ryoma gets chunked pretty hard.
And you see this a lot with stronger junglers early playing in a Sejuani. They don't even care if they show through the lane. Blabber steals away the Raptors and immediately will cross over to his red quadrant where all of his camps are up. So if you look at the map right now, he has effectively eliminated 2 extra camps that Meteos cannot farm in comparison to him and has earned himself a lot more gold now to be acquired. Raptors, Red, and Krugs available, while Meteos only has the Krugs. This is very intelligent pathing from Blabber that also plays off of Niski's mid lane, which we saw allow him to go for that invade. So this is one of the reasons why Blabber is so good. It's not just his skirmishing. You know, he's not this brainless mechanics-only player. He puts a lot of thought into setting this up as well.
Well, the one light shining in the darkness there for Meteos is the fact that he did not get too crabbed. That always feels bad when your opponent manages to get the better of your camps and also grab both Scuttle Crabs, so he gets away from that one. But LCR going for the solo kill here into the top lane. And there you go. We're talking about win conditions, man. When Ornn solo kills the GP at level 4, LCR is just saying, not today. Not in my top lane.
No flash, though. Meteos, can he?
No.
No, he cannot do anything.
No.
Licorice, yeah. So, the analyst touched on Sumday's stats as well. So Sumday is 3rd in solo kills in the LCS right now. But who's 2nd is actually Licorice, who was at 11. Sumday was at 10. Now Licorice is at 12.
Yeah, Licorice, let's take another look at how he found this solo kill here onto Sumday.
I think the best part of it is the sound of Ornn's auto at the end with the hammer, just the big doink coming through. Come on.
Very well done there from Licorice. And honestly, just some disrespect from Sumday. You saw him walk right up to the volcanic pillar that had erupted from the ground that Licorice made there in the lane, pretty much daring him to come and take the trade. Well, unfortunately for Sumday, Licorice knows exactly when he can accept those kinds of dares, jumps right in and grabs the kill. We'll see if this snowballs into anything further here for the side of Cloud9 on the top half of the map. Blabber still only level 5. We'll take the Scryer's Bloom there, sees the ward that was just placed down by Ryoma, and he'll clear that one away. And then once again, just go back, grab this chicken camp. Pretty effective at doing that with the Dustbringer and Umbra Blades combined, and it allows him to keep up this CS lead over his opponent, who is now heading towards the bottom lane.
Yep, Blabber keeping that timer. Meteos is setting up that gank you're talking about, though. Can they land the stun?
Oh, nice flash away from Vulcan there, dodging out of the CC, but he goes right back in to find some damage onto Meteos. And in a 3v2, it's 100 Thieves who walk away with a more damaged health bars in this one. Well played by C9.
Yeah, they do damage them more. Summoner spell blown, so something was gained, right? If you look at the minimap, there again were no camps until just now the Krugs respawned for Meteos. So he had no farming options. And his best bet was to try and get a Summoner Spell blown. Even though he takes a lot of damage, they do at least get some area to try and work off with. Nautilus now being a possible target, and Honey Fruit being found in the river means he healed back up.
And now bottom side, we're going in yet again. Cody Sun forced to flash away. Stunt now the target as Vulcan starts things off, and Sven is there following up with the damage. Blabber already level 6, looking to make the tower dive come alive. The damage goes through, the health bars shrink down rapidly. Blabber having to flash away. Sven looking to get the kills. It's one down, but here comes the artillery. Both bottom laners on the side of 100 Thieves are killed off. It's going to be one kill in return as Sven sent home with black and white screen, but Cloud9 gets their marks.
I love Exhaust, Captain Flowers. They buffed it a couple patches ago, lasts half a second longer. There, the Exhaust makes the difference, allows 100 Thieves to get a counter kill back. That was a very close and scrappy tower dive there, with Sven also having to blow both summoners and getting extremely low. In the end, they did get both kills, so Cloud9 barely pull it off there, and they do come out ahead. But because of the Exhaust, 100 Thieves made it close and got a counter.
And hey, Blabber's doing exactly what we both said we wanted to see. As soon as he got that ultimate, it was what, under 1 minute before he found the opportunity to fire it off and make a play happen. And when you're a champion like this, I want to see that sucker cast on cooldown.
All right, you can spell shield a dragon auto because it counts as a spell to give you more attack speed. They do it, they finish off the dragon.
But now the fight has started. Remember, Stunt still no level 6. He's not able to find that Cosmic Radiance. He cannot bring in the invulnerability, and Cloud9 now mounting the assault against 100 Thieves. Niski destroys Cody Sun. He sends Meteos to join him, and that is a double kill over to Cloud9. It is a 6-1 game, and they are doing exactly what they have done for the entirety of this split.
The Cloud9 War Machine still operational, Flowers. It was only close for a tiny bit during that dive where we thought maybe another kill would go over to 100 Thieves, but immediately Blabber takes the dragon. They collapse first onto Stunt. Vulcan hooks him back in for a very good kill. And then even though the rest of the team has arrived, Niski's able to just destroy them on the Zoe. Heads down the river, finishes off the second kill. And 100 Thieves are looking at a 5-kill deficit on top of the first dragon going over to C9.
Absolutely dominant play here early on from the side of Cloud9. And it's not just the fact that they're getting the kills, my friend. Where have the kills ended up? 2 on Niski, 3 on Sven, and 1 on Licorice, but you can't fault the man for it because he bonked Someday with his own little hammer. There's no way this could be going any better here for this squad so far, as Licorice just continues slapping him and clapping him.
Yeah, this one is definitely looking very good for Cloud9, and I want to keep track of how they keep up the pressure, because we're used to seeing them get these early leads like you're talking about. What's so cool about this team is how they have pushed these leads almost 100% of the time into victories. Only the one loss to TSM, and they do that with Blabber remaining aggressive. Right now, he does have the Nocturne ultimate, so my eyes are still looking for another play on bottom side. Even though 100 Thieves both have the Kalista ultimate and Taric, that is still an area that they can attack. The other possibility would be Ryoma in mid lane. That one's fairly difficult, though, because of the Cleanse Flash.
Yep. We also have to remember that if Meteos is able to properly read Blabber, because of the fact that they now both have ultis online, a counter gank will be that much more punishing. The first time Blabber used the ulti successfully in the bottom lane, he was level 6, his opponent only level 5. You can see there now as he's taking the Rift Herald once again, utilizing the fact that these epic monsters do have some of their damaging attacks coded as spells, so he's able to use the spell shield there, block the charge, and can then grab that extra attack speed to continue to put the DPS into Shelly and grab that eyeball early on here. Niski showing up to help him, making sure they get it quickly. Remember, it lasts 4 minutes, and for 3.5 of those, deployment means turret plates and even bigger gold plates.
Possible tower dive, Captain Flowers. I see some pings on top lane. Someday is under the turret currently. So they were thinking about it and possibly using the Rift Herald up there. But looks like they've decided to set full reset here for Blabber, get right back to base. And he's actually headed down bottom side right now. Now, a little bit of extra insight on some mechanics for the Nocturne into Sejuani. We haven't gotten to see it. I was hoping, maybe Blabber on one of these invades would actually find Meteos, but one of the reasons it's so easy for Nocturne is you can just spell shield the second activation of Winter's Wrath on Sejuani, the W. That's where most of the damage is loaded. And if you block that, then Sejuani has zero chance of winning any fights. So that's why Blabber got to go for all his easy early invades in combination with, of course, Niski pushing that mid lane.
Any champion that has a counter ability, like, Nocturne Spell Shield, Fiora's Repose, you just love champions like Sejuani that have such an easily predictable ability that's so easy to block. It just means that you win so hard in those matchups where you can block that with that ability. As we might see ourselves quite a fight here in the river. Meteos looking to start things off. Nice CC going to be layered there onto Cloud9 to begin this one. However, the disengage comes through as Paranoia is used to simply allow Cloud9 to back out. You don't always have to go in when things get dark and full of terrors.
Yeah, defensive Nocturne ultimate's completely viable strategy. It is used right there. Rift Herald popped on the bottom side, and that's going to be more money in the hands of Sven as he's been able to take off those turret plates. First two of them by hand. Shelly comes in with the true damage. So efficient. Don't you just love it, Flowers?
Oh, it's the best way to use Shelly for those who aren't aware. You don't want to use her on the first couple of plays. Use her on the ones later on. And Licorice, he's once again winning in these 1v1s against Someday. He's got a full-on Sunfire cape. Life goes from bad to worse for a champion that needs to build up plenty of damage. Tank stats, they just scale harder early on with only a 1 or 2 item investment than damage does. It's why these tanks are able to lane effectively against champions that want to play for later game, be more of a carry. As Niski goes for the damage, he finds the Paddle Star, he finds the Trouble Bubble. Niski gives him a big old belch from the mountain and sends him right back to the spawn platform.
That's what we call teamwork, Flowers. Niski heads up to the top side, sees Licorice softening up Someday, just adds a little bit of a helping hand there with the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, and hands another kill over to him on a silver platter. 100 Thieves will not be caught sleeping, though. They'll take the opposite side of the map, knowing that Niski roaming up to the top side will give them full priority over the Dragon.
All right, Dragon secured means at least 100 Thieves doesn't have to worry about an early 20-minute something Dragon Soul, which could have been a possibility if they weren't able to stay on top of this and at least sneak one.
Always a possibility in C9 games, for sure.
Yeah, it's incredibly common considering their insane stats on controlling neutral objectives and everything else on the Rift here in Spring. Of course, they've still got that impressive Rift Hero control number, only getting higher after this game, but 100 Thieves doing well to make sure that that's not a win condition, at least for a little while longer. And Someday is just going to get right back where he was here in this top side, continue trying to farm up, despite the fact that he has now died twice. He is still Gangplank. He's still even on farm with his opponent. And remember, even on Gangplank means ahead because of the fact that you get so much extra money from that parlay gold.
Yeah. The champion design team does take into account extra gold sources for when they're designing some champions. But Gangplank, with the Trinity Force now, finally has some semblance of a power spike for 100 Thieves. This is kind of the only thing that you can point out. The power spike is definitely one of the smaller ones, a blip on the radar, but it's there. You can see it.
It's not quite as big as the Sunfire Cape Ninja Tabby's kind of Aeon's horn, but hey, it's there. It's there. It's hanging out.
Try and hit your barrel chain onto somebody else. A Felios, a good target. Maybe you can find him.
Somebody that the barrel will do more than 10% of their health to, maybe. But that's definitely not the Ornn. Licorice very strong right now here in the current state of the game. The next Drake not spawning for over 3 minutes. We don't really have anything that's worth fighting over on the map right now. No turrets have yet been felt, so that bonus is still available. Sleepy Trouble Bubble not going to find anything with no terrain to pass through. The range is honestly very limited. So it does mean, however, that they will be able to chase 100 Thieves away long enough for Cloud9 to secure yet another Scuttle Crab. I'll count that as a mini objective. That's fine.
Okay, fair enough. A mini objective, just like the mini power spike.
Yeah, they go hand in hand, man.
Looks like Meteos is going to walk over a ward.
Meteos in some trouble here. CC coming down, damage going out. Throws out the Glacial Prison as he disengages. No opportunity for anybody from 100 Thieves to move over and try to help. Instead, the disengage is the best they'll get, but that does cost Meteos' flash.
Yeah, some good evasive maneuvers from Meteos. Get him out, even dodges away from the sleepy trouble bubble that's coming over. But that's basically just trying to deal with the symptoms here. They're not able to solve the root cause, which is Cloud9 full control of anything outside of the towers from 100 Thieves, and that's changing shortly even too, as the domino effect is about to occur. When bottom goes down, it's very easy for C9 to swap their duo up to that top side. Licorice has already taken most of it himself, and that thing's gonna fall pretty quickly afterwards.
And the comparison in items between the 80 carries, because of the fact that Sven has almost an extra 1,000 gold in his pocket from those kills, as Ryoma gets a nice taste of the Zoe combo there in mid lane, losing 2/3 of his HP. Blabber's going to be on Rift Herald number 2. As you can see, Licorice heading back to base. He's already claimed that top lane tier 1 turret. Sven's heading up there into the top side. He's already got his Essence Reaver. He's got the second BF sword in inventory, working towards the Infinity Edge, as Cody Sun just now completes his Blade of the Ruin King on Kalista. And remember, it's not like this is a matchup where Sven's playing something like Lethality Varus, where you want to spike early. You want to make sure that you're having those impact in those 20-minute fights. This is a Phalios, man. This champion melts 5 people at a time in late game team fights. Kalista falls off.
Definitely true. And Phalios is also going to have some Gucci Infinity Edge headed his way. Brand name will be upgraded. So it always feels nice to have a very strong scaling carry on your team that rushes one of those items. So as soon as Licorice gets to level 14, he'll be able to hand that out to Sven.
Meteos, Cody Sun, and Stunt moving up here to maybe make a move on to Sven.
Get him! Everybody
he
get him!
sees him on the control ward. He's backing away. He pops up and he walks out.
They got him for a second.
That was a good Goon Squad voice over there.
I mean, that's the squad on the blast cone. All right, everybody, you see that, Phalios? Get him, jump on him, quick.
Are these guys, are they like Skyrim bandits now?
Yeah, you never should have come here. Yep, they wait for the recall to go off. In the aftermath, though, they do pick up something meaningful, which is the second Rift Herald. So, 100 Thieves now. Wait, I'm not seeing it actually. What happened there? Did it?
It's summoned up in the mid lane by.
No.
By
there we go.
Yeah.
It was the Scuttle Crab. It was the mini one. I'm trolling.
Here comes Shelly, the mid lane tier 1. Troll it or not, she's going to slam her head into that thing. Nearly take it down, but it is still standing, as it's important here for 100 Thieves. But the third Drake of the game is alive. There's nothing really for 100 Thieves to say, all right, we'll trade the Drake for this. So for them, this is just an opportunity that they cannot contest, and Blabber and Licorice will take that one.
Yeah, they already got their big reward. That Scuttle Crab. That Scuttle Crab will become a Shelly in the future, though.
But it's dead.
Know that.
How will it become anything? It's dead.
In the afterlife, yeah, reborn. Do you believe in that?
You want to get into reincarnation about Shelly's? Hold on, Blabber's not going to let Ryoma get reincarnated into anything other than, well, a different version of Syndra here in about 31 seconds, because that one just got sent back to the spawn platform. Nice kill there in the mid lane. Blabber once again utilizing the Nocturne to make the play.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that is going to be their best shot at getting kills. Niski here's got some juice.
Niski trying to see if he's got the damage on Meteos, but he's not quite able to get it there with the jump forward. Vulcan with the stopwatch, keeping himself alive. The Gangplank ulti will prevent his escape, and Cody Sun is on the board.
Much needed sigh of relief here for an extra kill going over to 100 Thieves. Even though Ryoma did go down before that, any sort of trade is good for 100 Thieves at the moment because Cloud9 have so much control. They're just trying to trade in these opportunities where they have any sort of opening. Someday now, there's no patience left on this blue buff, so it's going to reset if they change targets one more time, and they do.
I think someday I'll say happy about that, because at least now he has a better chance of getting the blue buff. Meteo's also going to show up along with Stunt to zone Licorice away. You can tell he really wanted to put up a fight for that one, but when 3 people show up to just stop you from getting a blue, you're not getting a blue.
All right, so here's what you want to do if you're Cloud9 trying to push this game ahead. Well, never mind. We'll see what happens to Ryoma, as he's doomed
You're right. Here is what you want to do if you're Cloud9 trying to push this game ahead. You pop the enemy mid laner right near his red buff. Now you look to get away. A nice stopwatch coming through from Blabber there, allowing him to dodge away from the Meteor Salty. Now he's barely going to be kept alive in the back end of the fight. Here comes the cavalry. LCR has arrived. The ult comes through, and Meteos is over the wall, but now he's going to be chased down, and Blabber's right back into the mix, grabbing himself yet another kill. He feints into the back line and only re-enters when he knows he can clean things up. Cloud9 once again playing the fights cleanly, and we'll see them move over onto the Baron now, just 21 minutes into the game. They are very strong. They have an incredibly capable tank of making sure he absorbs all the damage from this one. We'll see if 100 Thieves are in any sort of a position to try and contest. They have no jungler, but there was no smite on Blabber either. It was up to the rest of the team to secure it, and C9 gets Baron.
You see, there's not even enough time to tell C9 what their next step is. They're just too quick at it. They find the pick in the jungle, right behind Baron, Sleepy Trouble Bubble, and Blabber already has the tether of the fear. Just look at that beautiful CC chain. Ryoma doesn't get to do anything. His Sleepy Trouble Bubble dreams go to nightmares as soon as he wakes up, and he's immediately dead. Then, with Licorice here having a long-range engage on Ornn, even during the immunity of Taric Ultimate, they get knocked up, so there's no counter kill for 100 Thieves. And with Niski landing that last bubble onto Meteos, he allowed Blabber to get the kill on the enemy jungler, opening up Baron, and it's only 22 minutes into the game, Flowers. We have been on this timeline before with C9, and they are not going to waste it any longer. Panarinoi is about to come up for Blabber, so he's split pushing.
5,500 gold up, 22 minutes into the game, and there are still all 3 tier 2 turrets left standing. These are usually just a nice little bit of free money to collect for yourself. Once you have the Baron buff, teams can push them down rather easily. Oftentimes defenders are a little bit averse to trying to protect them, since it does open you up to a team fight that could very easily go south and cause you to lose your entire base, if not at least a couple inhibitors. As C9 has rotated into the top side, Blabber will continue pushing mid, the classic 4-1 Baron split, and there you go, T2 top lane sacrificed, more money for Cloud9.
Yeah, they were thinking about going for Blabber in mid lane, but it gets turned around on Meteos.
When your tank is the man who can be jumped on in the jungle and 100 to 0'd in the duration of the Nocturne Fear Tether, things are not going very well here for the team of 100 Thieves. Licorice, he throws out the ult, but upon the stopwatch coming down, he throws it over the wall instead to reacquire different targets. Gangplank ulti comes down over the wall just to make sure this fight isn't going to be going any further. Stunt and Cody's Sun finding some damage onto Licorice, but each Kalista auto attack does barely anything at all. The Ornn is so incredibly tanky, and Cloud9 can just walk away from this one. Mid lane tier 2 turret continually under fire. Blabber backing away from this one as Cody hops forward trying to repel the attack. They will keep that tier 2 alive just barely, and 100 Thieves will continue to hang on.
Yeah, this reset for C9 is going to be for the Infernal Dragon. They don't want to leave any options open for 100 Thieves, but Cody's Sun and Stunt might try and rush this one. Definitely dangerous for them. C9 have the Baron empowered recalls, so they got most people back.
They've got Blabber and Licorice right here, and Licorice will just walk up. He says, "Get away from my Drake," and he's going to jump in and fight 1v3. Blabber looking to show up now, following in on Licorice's lead. He's able to steal away the Infernal Drake. He beats Meteos there in the Smite fight. Still Licorice on the front line. He's going to be taken very, very low. He still keeps himself alive, and Cody is the first one to fall. Back into the fight, Niski's looking to take down Meteos as the rest of C9 will follow up on the stragglers of 100 Thieves. It is a 1-for-4, and Cloud9, they lose their jungler for the first time this game, but they will take the Drake, they will move to Soap Point, they will move one of the tier 2s yet again, and this is exactly what fans wanted to see from this team when they moved into playoffs. Absolutely merciless, absolutely unstoppable, and someday, once again, gonna nearly be taken down here. Niski coming in from behind. He's got a little bit more damage to go if he wants to grab the kill. Vulcan's got the root. There's your Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Doesn't even have to get the sleep at the end. The damage is enough, and the tier 2 in the bottom lane falls. All 3 tier 2s gone, and Licorice even takes a tier 3 in the top side for good measure.
Now, for 100 Thieves, they have to be considering that this is not the regular split. This is a series where they can make adjustments. And already in this game, they're thinking about what adjustments they can make moving forward. First, we'll look at the replay, though, before we go into that. This is the Smite steal from Blabber, and look at this. He moves up, goes for the Fear onto Cody-san, still gets the Smite over Meteos. On this replay, it's showing Meteos' Smite on cooldown, so I don't know if that is one of those replay bugs or if it was actually on cooldown and 100 Thieves were just trying to rush that dragon regardless. It is going to mean, though, that C9 do even have a fallback pattern of the Dragon Soul with the Infernal Dragon, in addition to basically owning Summoner's Rift at the moment. Someday can't even get this cannon minion, by the way, as he's trying to fend off 3 people, and he goes back and he's like, wait, there is some money over here. Maybe I get some minions. He goes to sleep, and even that is out of their reach.
Just not doable. Baron up in less than a minute here, 16-3. Cloud9 just shy of 10,000 gold ahead of their opponents at 26 minutes. This is a team that all too frequently finishes their opponents off around 30 minutes into the game. They don't like to allow things to drag out for too long. Blabber going into the top side now, looking for the 1v1 against Someday on the GP. Ulti is called down. Hey, that's not a fair 1v1, but fair doesn't really matter when you get the kill, does it? Niski shows up, secures that when he adds a couple more pages there to his book. And that is a 14-stack Medjai's Soul Stealer. That is Blabber with a Guardian Angel who's not afraid to dive in and start the plays. 100 Thieves are trying to move up, maybe get some sort of revenge here. Yeah, they're going to lose their base, but they probably would anyway, even if they didn't go for this. Niski with a flash away. That is his real flash. Blabber's still just hanging around. I don't know how many people from 100 Thieves try to hunt him down here. Meteos, he whips the whip. Blabber with a flash, Blabber with the block onto the CC, coming out from the spell shield there, and now Meteos is overextended. The rest of Cloud9 is just in the enemy base. They're like, all right, Ryoma's the only guy here stopping us. Why would we care? Still pushing strong as 3. Licorice tanking up the turret. All of 100 Thieves just stayed in the top side for way too long. They seem to just be go nexting this one, and Cloud9 are happy to oblige. They're on to the Nexus itself. Someday will do nothing but pad their stats, it appears, as this team is way too tanky with way too much damage, and Cloud9 is way too damn good at League of Legends. They will wrap this one up in 28 minutes.
It's been said before, but Cloud9 in the North American LCS this split have looked like a team of complete Smurfs, 5 members strong, absolutely demolishing all competition, and it looks like playoffs not going to be a different story here starting out.
Only 3 members on Cloud9 died at all, and they all died only a single time. The best score on 100 Thieves was 2-4-1. That is how absolutely dominating that win from Cloud9 was here in the first game. And as you said, though, this is a series, right? This isn't just best of 1. Oh, darn, we lost, our day's over. 100 Thieves are going to need to make some changes here. This is a team that we saw a much better second half of the split from compared to their first half of the split. I want to see if they can figure out exactly what needs to be changed here and try to find where to attack this Cloud9 armor, because right now it appears to have no weaknesses.
Exactly, and this is one of the things we talked about off of Reaper simply stating that they feel like they're a good match for 100 Thieves style. At the beginning of the game, we mentioned 100 Thieves have averaged a gold deficit 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and Cloud9 find that very easy to attack. Maybe there is a world where 100 Thieves can draft some much more aggressive lane matchups and try and fight in the early game, because if not, it seems like Cloud9 will follow the same game plan.
With that, we're going to step away, but when we return, the State Farm Analyst Desk will break down the Cloud9 win and look towards Game 2. Don't go anywhere.
Houston? The brightness is increasing. There it is. Oh, yeah, beautiful.
Cars like this don't come around often. The redesigned Type R, the most powerful Civic ever, from Honda.
Welcome back to the 2020 Spring Playoffs, where Cloud9 just took Game 1 over 100 Thieves in pretty dominant and expected fashion to some degree. But I want to work through it one piece at a time, because a couple things kind of jumped out at us. First and foremost, we got a Nocturne in the jungle for Blabber, and he executed.
It was pretty cool.
That was just...
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when we were watching Pick and Ban, all of us were saying, man, I don't really like Nocturne Jungle. I think Nocturne Mid is way better if you're going to play it. Like, maybe their early game proactivity is going to be too low, but they're Cloud9, and they knew that they weren't going to get early jungle pressure from Nocturne, and it didn't matter. And it ended up working great.
He had a really cool route.
In fact,
he did a blue to Raptor to counter jungle Sejuani into mid to force the cleanse, and then back to his own side so that he had that pressure on mid lane, because now Syndra without cleanse against Zoe is just terrified of everything.
Yeah, cycled those Raptors a few times to build a nice experience and CS lead on his opponent, and then kind of snowball through. Interestingly enough, Jat, an extra stat to add on to this is that of all teams across all games this split, Blabber's jungle proximity in this game was the 4th lowest that we had. So really farming focused on this Nocturne.
And he hit level 6 at about 6 minutes and 15 seconds on one of his Raptor clears, and then immediately went down bottom to dive, which gave a double kill to Sven. So sure, they sacked some early jungle pressure because he was committing to some early counter jungling and just some early hard farming, but they immediately attacked the spot on the map that was supposed to be strong 400 Thieves, where when you draft the Kalista Taric, you're hoping you can get an early lead on that Kalista so you can start kind of face tanking later team fights, and they just never let any of that come online, and it was really just a masterful game from C9 from start to finish.
Yeah, Mark, let's talk about that bot lane and how 100 Thieves actually decided to take an aggressive pick like the Kalista in the bot lane, but it was Cloud9 who ended up playing through
that's the big thing that people always talk about with having strong laners is it allows you to play things like Nocturne, and it allows you to have the lowest jungle proximity, and your solo laner in the top lane is getting a kill against the GP as an Ornn, and then your bot lane is surviving these ganks and actually winning out on the turnaround trades. You know, Meteos went down there and blew Vulcan's flash, but then Sven stepped up and hard punished them, chunking them low, and then got lane priority from that, and then they could set that dive up. And so Sven had an absolutely monstrous performance on the Aphelios, crushed the bot lane in what should have been a tough matchup. Kalista is probably the strongest laner that people are playing right now, and so just a monstrous performance by basically everyone out of C9, and exactly why everyone was looking at this as a 3-0 probably.
Because
so pretty by the numbers, Jad.
Yeah, and to expand on kind of what Mark was saying, I didn't like C9's draft in a vacuum. I think if I took two just average teams and put the draft side by side, I'd say 100 Thieves had a better draft because they have the Kalista Taric bottom lane, they have a more proactive early jungler, they have a Syndra versus Zoe, which can theoretically win that matchup, and they have a good, strong, weak side top laner in GP who can also ult down bottom. So like that whole composition, wow, that actually makes so much sense. They're just going to crash bottom lane, whereas you look at C9 and they don't necessarily have a matchup that thinks like it's going to win on its own, and then they have a slow jungler. So you're thinking, how are they going to pull this off? As Mark said, the answer is by just being C9.
I do think their draft is really strong, though, because you took the Nautilus against Kalista, so at least in the team fight, you can lock her down. And Zoe Nocturne at least has a lot of power against someone like a Syndra, mobile in the mid lane. She ever overextends.
For sure.
So I think they have a lot of tools.
Once you get to team fight phase, it's fine.
Yeah.
I think the larger point is just that whenever people look at drafts using like hindsight, they always highlight like the team that executed their part of the draft, and it's one of those things where low proximity, early farming focused junglers in this meta have largely not worked that well. Like Karthus and stuff struggle, especially in North America. And when you have such dominant solo laners who are winning matchups on their own, it frees up this kind of draft. And that doesn't make it a bad draft. It just means this is a good draft for a team that's going to naturally win lanes because you can let your jungler invest in himself a little bit more.
Right, it's an added benefit of being as good as Cloud9 is that they can reach and pull out some of the picks like this. But while we talk about, Jat, in a vacuum, that 100 Thieves composition looking really good, Now let's just put 100 Thieves, the name, back on top of that draft. And is it the kind of draft that you want to see out of 100 Thieves? And let's use the context of Game 2 looking forward, where they've actually selected blue side. Is that the kind of play? Do we want to see Kalista play through bot lane and someday on a scaling champ?
I wouldn't hate it. I think they're going to be happier if they can get someday on Aatrox again, which is his most played for the split, which does have a little bit more potential for solo kills rather than... You definitely don't want to see him getting solo killed, Ornn versus GP. I don't necessarily think that's a drafting problem. But looking at just the very top of the draft from this game 1, where we saw Xayah, Varus, and Senna all banned to set up a first pick Aphelios, that's what 100 Thieves will actually want to do, because Aphelios looked like Cody Sun's best champion towards the last half of the split. So if they can manipulate kind of the same thing C9 did, I think that would be a good start.
Totally agree, because I also think that the Aphelios is the stronger Cody Sun pick, but also I didn't like the Taric on stun. I didn't like what I saw out of him, and I think that the Kalista Taric combo, so much of it revolves around Taric's timings. This is not easy to execute. We saw in the Team Liquid games last week how hard it was to actually pull this off. You miss your timing with your ultimate, or the stun is misaligned because Kalista's hopping around, and what should have been an amazing team fight is suddenly you just used everything and now you're getting kited out until your death. So I just want to see him on something easier. Go on Lantern duty, pick the Nautilus, Tahm Kench, start the game, get a win that way, then go back to the harder stuff.
Mark, any follow-up on 100 Thieves strategy going into game 2?
Kind of touching on what Jazz said about the Aatrox, not just that from a comfort level, but also from a proactivity level. I think, yes, you got solo killed by Licorice. I don't think that means that Licorice is going to keep dumpstering someday over the course of this series. And so getting him in a more early game focused matchup, GP underneath this turret is kind of what you expect to see once you have the GP pick. So something that's able to actually push the other guy in like an Aatrox, and if you want to get even more aggressive, I'm totally fine with them pushing that top lane pool back, into Lucians, Fioras, and some of the more hard counter stuff, and make the game about someday, because while Cody and Stunt have been doing a lot better in recent weeks, I do think someday is the primary carry still, and GP can be that, but after seeing the mid and bot lane not be able to convert in leads, I want to see him have that opportunity.
Maybe the recipe for 100 Thieves. Jack, let's talk about what would make us happy to see out of Cloud9. Understanding they've already got a win under their belt, and we expect them to continue to look impressive across the BO5. Do we want more experimentation? Do you want to see continued new picks? Or do you want to see sub 30 minutes, 3-0, show us you can get it done?
I just want to see them continuing to win in 30 minutes. I think if they experiment too much, I'm not going to hate them for it. Like, I guess the holy grail would be continue to play picks that no one else has played in those roles this split and also win in 30 minutes. But that's a little unrealistic. I don't think they're going to have all those things. So I think it's completely fine to just continue to prove that they can play the meta stuff. It's fine to first pick Set. It's fine to play fasting Senna. It's fine to play Aphelios. Just continue to win soundly, and I think that'll make C9 fans happy.
Well, it's going to chalk so far, but we have plenty of runway to go for both of our teams here to make moves in this best of 5. We're going to step away when we return. We've got Game 2 of Cloud9 versus 100 Thieves. We'll see you here for Champion Select after this.
So, Josh, you going for our Drive Safe and Safe discount?
Yep. Using the app, driving safe.
You want to go? You want to go, bro?
Hey, do not mess with my discount.
Woo!
You can save up to 30%.
Let's go!
Nice to meet you. Go get him, Tiger.
Woo!
Sounds like you've got this.
Yeah, definitely.
Get a discount up to 30% with Drive Safe and Save from State Farm.
Welcome back here for game number 2, a best of 5 between Cloud9 and 100 Thieves. Now, if you're a Cloud9 fan, game 1 really couldn't have gone much better, and if you're a 100 Thieves fan, game 1 really couldn't, well, have gone much worse.
Yeah, definitely some adjustments we're hoping to see for 100 Thieves. I personally think something along the jungle lines. I'm a big fan of Meteos Olaf, and that is a champion that will not get bullied around anywhere, and you get to be the one going for early invades even. You can go for level 1 invades. I think those are the sorts of things in a best of 5 series that you have to pull out to try and put a #1 team like Cloud9 off of their game.
Yeah, something's definitely got to be changed up. You can't just go by the book here, because right now, Cloud9 are the ones who have authored the book here in North America in 2020 up to this.
They own the bookstore, Flowers.
Yeah, they're the ones. They even have the dedication in the front of the book. So, to my dearest inspiration, Cloud9, this one's for you. The author wrote it that way. This is their book. And we'll see if 100 Thieves play by it here going into this next game. Once again, Gragas banned away. Blabber has a ton of plays on it so far this split. They don't want him to be on it here again. Senna's also going to be banned out by 100 Thieves. Set and Callista banned away by Cloud9. Cody will not be on the Callista back-to-back games.
Aphelios, are they going to leave it up for him? Last ban here for C9. Could be playing with fire if they give that champion over. It has been one of the keys to victory for 100 Thieves.
All right, Cloud9, what you got for me, buddy? Let's see what you can do here. Final ban.
Aphelios, give me Aphelios behind door number 3. Boom.
Nope.
Oh, they're giving it to him.
Still available here for the first pick to let Cody's son have some fun, but could be the Syndra. This is a very high value pick. However, taking the Syndra does mean you're giving the Aphelios away, most likely.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing the Syndra be a difference maker in the same way. It certainly was not last game. Zoe's also up again for Cloud9. Like, Niski could do the exact same matchup. Syndra has the added benefit of being flexible, so maybe it's a Cody Syndra here. We're really going to have to see something on Summoner's Rift to put some weight behind this, because Cloud9 will just snatch up Ornn and Aphelios, 2 of the highest priority champions in the whole game right now. You know, Syndra, of course, is right up there with them, but I think this is a bit dangerous.
Yeah, this is looking an awful lot like the first game so far, except, okay, here's a big change. 100 Thieves get themselves the Trundle. Now, remember in game number 1, the junglers hadn't been picked there until the second half of the draft, and it meant that Cloud9 banned away Trundle. It gave 100 Thieves the opportunity to pick Sejuani when they felt safe. However, 100 Thieves, they're just instantly going to go ahead right now. They'll pick the Trundle. They need some kind of an answer to this Ornn, because we saw Licorice just absorbing constant fire from 3 different people at a time in the last game. Trundle makes a world of difference in that.
It does, but it does later in the game. You know, you have to get more towards the team fights. Then you get to ult the Ornn, and of course you get more value because Ornn's upgraded his own items for extra stats. Then you get extra stats. But I don't see the timeline where this change is actually going to move the needle for 100 Thieves. And then Blabber gets Kindred. Trundle can't do anything versus Kindred. It's very difficult to chase him down unless you are a master with your pillar. If you get a really good pillar, your goal is always to interrupt the dash of your opponents. But you can do this if you're very good against things like Jarvan, but you try and split up their dashes. If you can do that to Kindred, then there is a world where you and a laner can collapse, maybe get a kill like that. But other than that, Blabber is going to have a lot of freedom here, and Kindred can scale extremely well into being one of those big DPS threats. Always feels so nice to jungle as a Kindred if your team also already has a beefy frontline locked in. Yeah. So I like the pick here for Cloud9 too.
And the other thing I'm curious about too, Kindred has the ability to prevent the death of allies with her ultimate. Aphelios is often picked with these very safe bottom laners like a Braum, like a Thresh, like a Tahm Kench. Maybe those get left behind in the second half of the draft here to allow for a more aggressive style from Cloud9, because they know that Zven can be protected by the Lamb's Respite. They may wait and just go ahead and pick up Zoe here. That is the lock-in. They placed priority on that for Niski. He had a very successful game on it last time around. We'll see if he can do it here again. Remember, 100 Thieves still got to find an AD carry, and Cloud9 banned out 2 more of the big ones for Cody's son.
Cody has said that he wants to play more aggressively. All right, instantly lock in the Kog'Maw here. Are we going to get a stat spot right next to it? Some Lulu or Janna action to protect this Kog'Maw. It definitely is a very interesting answer because Kog'Maw with the W active, you get extreme range. You can outrange the Aphelios, try and damage them that way. Kog'Maw is also good at shredding a front line. If Trundle ults Ornn and Kog'Maw has W on, the Ornn will actually melt like a regular champion, not an Ornn type champion.
That is true, but hey, I said I wanted to see something more exciting than Tom Kinch in the bottom lane, and they brought me Bard, man. I'm
the stash.
I am appeased. This is fantastic.
All right. Okay. I actually do kind of like the direction 100 Thieves are trying here with Cody's son, because this team, when they first came into the LCS, found great success around protecting Cody's son. You know, the second place finish for them right out of the gates, back before they let Meteos and Cody's son go, you know, in the first round. And they're going to try and return to those roots here with the Kog'Maw. Bard locked in as the final mystery pick there for Cloud9. Vulcan once again gets to roam around the map.
Now, the one thing that I am worried about here, 400 Thieves, is remember that both of these carries, the Syndra and the Kog'Maw, completely immobile, sans flash. So if at any point the Unbreakable gets baited out from stunt and he's not able to block the ulti from FLICKR, it is very easy for Cloud9 to engage on these carries from range with that incredibly powerful ultimate. I'm also looking at Someday here on the Aatrox, on this champion that you expect to win in that 1v1 against Ornn. A lot of people around our All-Pro voting. So for anybody out there who doesn't know, all of Cloud9's team got ranked for the #1 all LCS team for regular split play. Someday got #2 for top laners. And there's some controversy around this. There's a lot of people on Twitter saying Someday got robbed, and there's a lot of people saying in your dreams, FLICKR obviously deserves this. Well, last game, all the Someday got robbed people had no land to stand on. FLICKR solo killed him at level 4 as Ornn by bonking him. That's not...
By bonking him.
You got no money to get robbed when you get bonked. And so this game, I want to see Someday step up. Say, yeah, I should have been #1 and flex those Aatrox muscles.
I cast my vote for Someday as #1, but I had FLICKR there #2 as well. I really liked what we were touching on, though, because you're already starting to theory craft later into the game in some of the team fights. With the Bard pick, you can actually Bard ult the Braum to allow FLICKR to have free reign with the Ornn ultimate, or you can easily Bard ultimate the low mobility Kog'Maw and Syndra. As we have a level 1 invade, though, we can wait to get to the end game until we're actually there.
We got some spice in the draft. We got some spice in the level 1. I am enjoying game 2 here so far, my friend, but Meteos is not, as he is going to be forced away from this invade that they attempted as a 2v2. 100 Thieves have to back out from that one, so it will set Meteos a little bit behind here.
And it's going to be really hard, like I was kind of talking about in Champion Select, for Trundle to bring stability to the lanes for 100 Thieves when you are facing this Kindred matchup. Blabber with red buff, that's all you need to have full priority over the Trundle in the early game, and you see him already utilizing it to the fullest. This is another game of Blabber taking an advantageous jungle matchup and pressuring Meteos with it. Last time, the Nocturne into Sejuani. This time, Kindred immediately red to red, taking any possible threat away.
Blabber is so fun to watch, man. I really just enjoy watching this guy jungle because of the way that he likes to get aggressive. This isn't none of that. I can't remember the word. It's people use it to describe leaf-eating dinosaurs, but I'm gonna just say vegetarian
herbivore,
jungle.
my friend.
Yeah, that's it. It's not vegetarian jungle. It's herbivore. This is none of that herbivore jungling, man. This is carnivorous. This is eating people alive. This is stealing buffs and flexing your muscles on people. I love to see that kind of jungling. And Blabber just has done so much of it this whole split. He's always fun to watch.
I would like a Captain Flowers description of words, the Captain Flowers dictionary, actually, for the alternate explanations. We'll get one of those out to you shortly.
It's not that different. Vegetarian, herbivore, it both means you'd rather eat plants than stuff that was at one point alive.
I like it. The leaf-eating dinosaurs.
Yeah. Well, Licorice is once again doing just fine here in this top side, but Meteos wants to shut that down nice and early. Meteos does back away from the pillar, but he takes a couple of auto attacks. Meteos, however, eats a turret shot there on the back end of the trade, and it doesn't honestly go too bad for C9.
Yeah, honestly, it's going great for Cloud9. And I want to call back to the early game of last game where I mentioned Blabber and his pathing. Once again, if you look at the map in the camps, he's able to not only red to red, but also double crab, the dreaded double crab you talked about.
No.
Turns out one of them also, he's able to get the mark off of that because of the gank top. Vulcan flashes in with the ignite.
Stunt and Cody's son just not having a good time here in this bottom lane. Cody's done a good job so far of staying even on farm with his opponent, but when you compare where the health bars are here in this lane, it does mean Cody's going to lose a little bit of that closeness here as the wave will start to collide with the turret. Vulcan and Sven making sure they push this one up as far as possible. Meteos is going to move into bottom lane to try to delay that and keep as many of these minions as possible away from the turret to ensure that Cody doesn't lose more than what is absolutely necessary. But Sven and Vulcan are able to grab that first plate, and they'll go home happy.
Yeah, the best 100 Thieves can hope for is to have Meteos pick up the gold that's just dying into the ground right there until Cody's son gets back. He does that, but it really does feel like they're just picking up scraps right now in the game. Blabber now can reverse clear back up to top side, and he's already got his skirmishing saber as well. Really just makes it very easy for him to continually go deeper into 100 Thieves jungle and keep up the vision and the wards. And you can see right now, he can even go take these Gromp marks, which are very rare for Kindred to be able to take this early into the game, to have this much agency. See if he gets punished on the way out, though. Not gonna be the case.
Okay, so he takes the blast cone and just blinds himself right into Someday. Finds a very poor trade against his top lane opponent here, and now jumps right back into the fight even further. He Qs forward, gets hit by the Infernal Chains. He will be taken down below 300 HP, but considering Someday was in a 1v2, he couldn't actually threaten the kill, and his control ward is cleared away. Niski, once again, going to find a trouble bubble there. On to Ryoma in the mid lane, follows it up with a Paddle Star to win the trade.
So during that, they do get the mark for Blabber. Someday's pissed about it, though.
Yeah, Someday's not happy here. And he is just trying to run Blabber down in the jungle. Q3 onto the remaining Krugs there in the camp to get a little bit of something from that. As Licorice flashes up the wall, slams his head right into the bricks on the edge of the red buff. And that is first blood over to C9. Someday's bloodlust ends up getting punished.
Looks like Blabber is able to get inside his head there, living rent-free. Someday went for the invade while his team was taking Dragon. We didn't really mention it because it was easily seen on the mini-map, but Meteos made the call since, okay, Blabber's topside getting the mark, I'll take Dragon. And you see right now, 100 Thieves have gotten the Dragon, but Someday's so deep in the weak side of the map. This is the weak side. Their whole team for 100 Thieves is on Dragon, taking the objective. And Someday is going to trade flashes with Blabber, but this is the weak side. There's 3 members of Cloud9 here. They clean up the first blood kill.
You know, I've been in that situation a lot of times in the past.
Tilted? Yeah, I have heard
in my games, sometimes I'll be like, oh, this guy, he thinks he's so good, I'm going to go teach him what for. And then you get collapsed on by 3 dudes. And if it's a mistake that I would make, it's not a mistake that I would expect Someday to make. So I can't do anything but chalk that one up to tilt. So hopefully he's able to shake it off, get the mental back where it needs to be, because 100 Thieves are going to need him moving forward here in this game. Already down 1,500 gold despite only having 1 kill on the board, and that means a lot of leads in plates and in farm and in Cody and Stunt's world. Things go from bad to worse. It is 2 kills for nada. zilch, 0, nothing. And Cloud9 just continues building this lead.
Yep, C9 remain on the attack. 4 members bottom. They use the teleport from Licorice just for good measure. Every time that C9 make a move, Meteos tries to get the objective on the other half of the map. And that is going to be a Rift Rail. He should be able to pick it up. It is, again, though, kind of just picking up the only options left to them at this moment. As you can see, more plates taken off the bottom half of the map. Licorice is actually going to stay down there, and C9 will just swap their duo up to the top side.
I have just been updated by a producer that this is the largest gold difference this split that we have seen at this point in time. This, of course, includes all other Cloud9 games. Now, most of the time when you're competing for gold differences, it's Cloud9 competing against themselves.
Personal best.
But, yeah, it's like a racing game where you're not really racing against anybody else. You're racing against your own best time on the track. And, well, when Cloud9 is able to beat even their own best time, 100 Thieves have got to be concerned about how quickly this game is spiraling out of control.
Yeah, right now they're going for the reset. They pulled Someday down bottom side along with the rest of the team, so maybe 100 Thieves are just going to trade. And I like this. Once again, we talked about last game where you are not strong enough to actually fight them on any objectives, so try and trade just by overloading one side of the map. Even with 4 members here, though, Licorice goes in. They chunk down Stunt.
Stunt uses the Unbreakable and then still has to flash away to keep himself alive. Licorice is still a level 8 Ornn, it's still a level 1 ultimate. It means it is not yet off cooldown from the previous usage in the bottom lane dive, so there's no follow-up there to try to punish 100 Thieves after the Unbreakable is down. C9 will just take their success at defending all their plates, keeping everybody alive and grabbing the Summoner spell out of the enemy support and walk away, because meanwhile, Sven has free firing time on this top lane tier 1 turret, and he's collecting all sorts of money.
Yeah, the theory is, okay, 100 Thieves can't fight on objectives, so they're going to go for the numbers advantage, overload bottom part of the map with an extra player, and just leave Sven to take top side and try and trade it for bottom. But Cloud9 say, no deal, and they just defend it, one person down. Easy knock up there for Licorice. They get a big chunk onto Stunt. They put a stop to 100 Thieves' attempt at bringing some sort of normalcy into the game for themselves, and Cloud9 will barrel ahead just as planned. Licorice pushes it right back at them, and they'll be the ones taking plates on bottom.
Man, you talking about no deal and normalcy. You reminded me of Game Show Week, back when we all actually got to hang out in the same building. You're giving me, I'm getting real sad boy vibes now. I just want to go back to them days as Cloud9 will continue finding their opportunities to punish their opponents here on the top side, or is it going to be Sven who's caught out? He's almost taken down, but Cody instead, the one under pressure. Vulcan managing to find the stasis there with the ulti, flashing forward. Niski's able to grab the damage, and now we'll see if C9 can get themselves away. Cody won't find anything with the Acathian surprise, as Niski keeps himself safe from the follow-up damage. Ryoma tries to get one in return. The CC comes through, but it's not going to grab a lot. Vulcan may be overextended now. Drake is going to be taken by Blabber there on the other end of the map, but Meteos is able to finally grab a kill here for 100 Thieves on the top side. Niski looking to chase even further. Good God!
2-for-1 deal!
At the very end of the Paddle Star, buy one, get one free. Triple kill for Niski. Throw another one in the shopping cart just because he likes the way he makes it happen. This man is on fire.
Yeah, why not? Throw another one in there. Let's stock up. Niski here. Let's take a look at how this actually unfolded, because Cody-san, most will have flash there. They try and finish off Sven, but Vulcan is able to get in range. He gets the Guardian off of the heal that he put under Sven, keeps him alive. Then he's able to flash in, gets the counter kill there. They take down Cody-san, even though 100 Thieves bring another member to this. You know how it turns out, as Niski, he actually likes the deals that he's seeing on Summoner's Rift today.
Cody's son just lost.
Everything must go. Free, free, free.
Free, free, free. Get your wacky waving inflatable arm flailing 2-man out, because Niski is not stopping bargains like these anytime soon, my friend. He is just
throw another one in the cart.
The entirety of 100 Thieves. You know what this is? Did you ever watch those shows on like Nickelodeon when you were younger, where kids would enter into a sweepstakes and they got to run through a toy store, just throw everything they wanted into the shopping cart? Niski is the kid, and everybody on 100 Thieves is a Lego set and a Nerf gun and a basketball, and they're all just getting thrown in the cart, and he is on the shopping spree of a lifetime.
And the producers of the Nickelodeon show forgot to start the timer, so it's continued from all last game to this game. Niski's still throwing stuff in. He's got, I found another one here. 6-0 on the Zoe, by the way. Stopwatch in inventory. So this is probably a combination of death sentence for Meteos.
Yeah, I don't know if he gets away from this one. He is starting to walk out there. Subjugate keeping him alive, but it appears only for a moment longer. Or is the blast cone going to mean an escape? No, it will not. He can't get in there in time. Niski looking to find the setup here yet again with a trouble bubble, but he and the rest of Cloud9 will walk away. Score is 9-1, 14 minutes in.
I also think that Niski here on the Zoe plus stopwatch is probably the combination of Captain Flower's most frustrating things in the game.
Oh yeah, dude, if I was on 100 Thieves, I would have nexted this 10 minutes ago. This one's hard to play.
You need to have strong mental in these cases. 100 Thieves, they've got a series on their hands here. One game's gone to Cloud9. They're significantly behind here, facing a Medjai Soul Stealer upgraded 6-kill Zoe. But you can't stop fighting. They do have a Kog'Maw, so they need to get that Kog'Maw at least one item. And then once you get one item, they can think about the second one. But first order of business, you got to get one item on Cody's son before you got a chance to win it.
He's got an item. He's got a refillable potion and a Doran shield and a Vampiric Scepter and a recurve bow. That's 4 items.
What are you, a lawyer, Flowers?
I'm just saying, there's only one slot in that inventory that's empty. Yes, 4 slots are filled with garbage, and the last one is filled with a boot, which has to be there for every champion but Cassiopeia. But I'm just saying.
Go for it.
Let's see if Cloud9 gets punished here. 100 Thieves, they're collapsing. This may be their only opportunity to make a move. Vulcan buys a little bit of time there, keeping Stunt and Cody's son wrapped up in the ulti. Niski not going to find his mark there with the trouble bubble. Ryoma and 100 Thieves walk away, and nobody goes down.
True. Now, let's see how long that will remain the case. Because now it is Cloud9's turn for an offensive play. Rift Herald will take down mid lane turret. They're not going to stop there. And Cody's son on your minimap, you can see him still top lane. He's farming to try and get an item. So they're just going to give up the mid lane here as he does so.
Well, trading top lane outer for mid lane inhibitor turret is not a strategy that often works, but when you don't have many options, you take whatever you can get. Cloud9 are now going to back away. They don't want to overcommit themselves, and sometimes taking an inhibitor that early in League of Legends can actually not be good for you.
Sure.
Not a lot to take on the map, man. What are they going to do? We're like, yes, now we have wolf control, while your opponents get an unlimited supply of free minions to farm in the base.
So here's what they're going to do. Okay, I think it's an easy answer for me. Here's what they're going to do. Well, first they're going to kill Stunt, or root him at the very least. Then they're going to take the dragon. They're going to get Mountain Dragon, reset. Once they have purchased, then they can just push on bottom side of the map, take that secondary turret because, Captain Flowers, they have a... What is this? 9,000 gold?
Yeah, it's 9,000 at 17 minutes. It's a bunch.
You keep pushing is basically my answer here. The problem with, giving up inhibitor is bad, is only bad if your opponents can defend it. If they can defend and keep you from taking more off the map, then that is a sustainable, path to comeback. But if Cloud9 remain taking down secondary turrets, there are still 2 of them outside of inhibitor turrets for Cloud9 to take, then they can just keep up that pressure. Plus, there's always the added bonus, inhibitor's not even down yet. If they want to, they can go straight towards the exposed inhibitor.
Cloud9's just got the entire game in the palm of their hands. I mean, at this point, barring them all trying to 1v5 in mid lane, one after another in a giant conga line of death, I don't see any opportunity for 100 Thieves to win this game. Kog'Maw's still working towards that fabled first completed item. I have to just wonder, if you're 100 Thieves, what is the plan for next game? Because the changes made this game did not work. Meteos being a champion that shuts down a tank did not shut down the tank. He's 1-0-3. Someday was not able to find success in the top lane. He's down 35 CS. He baited himself against Blabber and ends up getting first blooded. Ryoma cannot win the Syndra versus Zoe matchup, period. That needs to change. Like, I feel like Syndra first priority is trapping 100 Thieves, and this is just not working in this mid lane. I don't know. There's a lot of fires going on right now, and if you're 100 Thieves, I don't know if there's enough water to put them out.
Okay, start some fires of your own is my direction.
Wait, what? If there's fires, you want to start more fires?
So actually, this is viable where people, pre-burn. They can burn areas around a fire so that there's nothing for the fire to then spread. That's a completely different path, and we can talk about fire containment later.
Is this like trying to kill the red buff without smite at level 1 so you die and your opponent can't kill you? Like, I'm trying to understand where the analogy is going here.
Here's my strategy, Captain Flowers.
Okay.
Draft Olaf for Meteos. Draft actual aggressive lanes. Like 100 Thieves used Lucian top lane for Someday. They committed hard to it. They hard split push. You need something where you don't have to wait and scale up. We mentioned, Trundle into Ornn. That sounds cool because you can shred him later on in the game. But that later on in the game value is not something that you're going to get to. So I think you draft some super aggressive lanes. You put Meteos on the Olaf, Rek'Sai, something like that. Those are two of his champions that he has used very successfully in the past that have a lot of early agency. And try to attack it that way, because the game plan here for number 1 and game number 2 has not panned out.
Yeah, I'm really worried about just the state of mind for 100. Like, you talk about a series requiring mental fortitude. You talk about players needing to be able to adapt and make sure that they can reset after each game. We saw the play from Someday that we couldn't describe as anything other than a tilt play at the beginning of this game. And we've seen 100 Thieves just continually be collapsed on and be outplayed as a team over and over and over again. And I want to see if this roster can change things up, because right now it just seems so incredibly doomed at this point. Cloud9 being the strongest team in the regular split, you expected this to happen no matter who they played against. I think, honestly, if you don't have Cloud9 as a hard favorite in any matchup going into playoffs based on statistics and logic, you're hard trolling. And Licorice is now going to be dove here. 3v1. They will take him down. Cody's son on the board got himself a kill now. But at the cost of the top lane tier 2 going down. At the cost of these lanes continuing to be pressured. It's tier 3 under fire in the top lane. Yes, they grabbed the kill on the enemy top laner, but this is a lot to trade.
Yeah. Can we say no deal? There's no option for no deal here.
I don't think there is an option for no deal. They're just going to take the whole damn briefcase and the inhibitor along with it. 100 Thieves, once again on the retreat. The Cloud9 4-man squad does not care that they don't have their top laner or that he doesn't have TP even once he respawns. Vulcan looks to make a play with the Tempered Fate. No, he won't find it, but they will get 2 inhibitors that 100 Thieves are unable to defend.
And this is 2 inhibitors before 20 minutes into the game. They couldn't even go do Baron right now if they wanted to after the reset. Cloud9 have to wait around for another 30 seconds after they reset and head back out to the Baron. Hashtag item for Cody has worked out, though. He's got his single item.
You're trying to start a Twitter trend to buy Kog'Maw. Are you going to start a GoFundMe for Kog'Maw's Rage Blade?
That's the strategy, actually, for game number 3 for 100 Thieves. They need to start the GoFundMe early so that they can have the items upon arrival. But anyways, Cody's son was pushing that bottom tower during the Cloud9 incursion into their base that resulted in 2 inhibitors being destroyed. That is, again, their lone hope, though, right? They've got this Kog'Maw. They need him to be able to output some form of DPS to have any hopes. Other than that, Ryoma has been CSing well on the Syndra and is going to have to try and set him up with some stuns. But Cloud9, there's no reason to pull their foot off the gas pedal here. Baron has finally arrived, so maybe they will transition over to the Baron after they take the secondary turret.
If they even
or
need
maybe
it.
They'll just finish up the game, you know? 2 inhibitors with mid and top down means 2 lines of super minions streaming into the base.
And the ability to prevent those minions from dealing a lot of damage is severely limited when you only have a Luden's Echo on your mid lane, or when you only have a Blade of the Ruined King on your AD carry. It is going to take a while to just get rid of all those massive minions coming into the base. And C9 will move towards that Baron exactly as you expect.
Yep, you know, it's a death sentence even walking through this jungle. Niski's on patrol, 6-kill Zoe here, looking for anybody who's going to poke their heads out, and the Baron will be picked up for C9, so they should be able to march ahead, and we can go back to talking about, you know, where's the area of attack going to be for 100 Thieves in this series, because like you're saying, everyone kind of expects Cloud9 to be this dominant, to destroy the same LCS teams that they've been destroying for the entire season. So I don't think 100 Thieves should get too down on themselves and still need to keep their mentality kind of above water.
Cloud9, all they need to do is put the final nails in the coffin here. I would say nearly 12,000 gold plus a Baron buff should be enough to do it at 22 minutes into the game. They're pushing up as a 5-man unit towards this remaining tier 3 turret. With the next Baron wave arriving now, they should have the opportunity to continue the auto attacks. Tempered Fate comes out. Cody Sung going to be caught up in that one. Redemption coming down now here as well, and the turret is gone. Remaining inhibitor is the next target, and there comes your Aphelios ulti. There comes the follow-up CC plus the damage. Blabber on the front line having to drop down the Lamb's Respite. He'll stay alive through that one, and 100 Thieves are going to be baited into taking the fight. It's a 1-for-1 so far. That's the best the Thieves have gotten so far in this game, but they're all so low they have to go back to the fountain and try to recover. In the meantime, the Nexus turrets are being deleted. The first is down, the second is down, and Meteos and Cody Sun are taking a hell of a lot of damage. 100 Thieves will be mopped up here at the very end just to pad the Cloud9 stats a little bit harder. A double kill for Licorice and a second win in this series for Cloud9, even more convincing than the first.
Yeah, if you're not convinced that Cloud9 should be the #1 team in the LCS by now, then
if you're not convinced now,
there's no talking to you.
Yeah, there's nothing to really be said if you're not convinced at this point. This team is putting on one hell of a show here so far, and there are so many things that have to be fixed for 100 Thieves. I'm going to start off by saying, if I see Syndra traded for Aphelios in the first part of the draft again, I'm going to consider that an int draft. It's not working. It has not come close to working. Niski has shown that if you pick the Syndra and allow him to play the Zoe, he will stop it. And Sven on Aphelios, on this champion that is just so powerful right now in the game, is showing that there's not really an answer to him either. That's got to change. I'm smacking my hand on the table and I'm saying this has to be different.
Fair enough. I agree. If we want this series to continue, then it's going to have to change courses. But, you know, again, that is a very difficult task for any of the teams in the LCS, trying to deter Cloud9, trying to change that course.
Well, we're going to take a break here now. That's enough from us here after that very, very powerful second game performance from Cloud9. Once we're back, Dash and the analyst will look at Cloud9's shellacking of a game 2. Don't you touch that browser.
Josh, you going for our Drive Safe and Save discount?
Yep, using the app, driving safe. You wanna go, bro? Do not mess with my discount.
Get a discount up to 30% with Drive Safe and Save.
Welcome back to Cloud9 versus 100 Thieves, where Cloud9 followed up Game 1 with an increasingly impressive Game 2. Crumbs, I just need initial reactions and maybe some help understanding what I just
Okay, so let me break it down to you. Teams are in different tiers, and when they practice with different tiers of teams. What we just saw is a scrim between teams on the upper echelons and the not upper echelons be broadcast for all of us to see. And this
right, but Crumbs, that's our 1 seed. That's our 1 seed versus 3 seed. You telling me that the 3 seed isn't even in the upper echelon?
That's right. The upper echelon this year, there is only one person in the upper echelon this year, and it's Cloud9. I mean, they're looking to shorten the game time with every single game. I, for one, don't mind it, because showing that you can stomp somebody is a very good display of strength. Not just going
Jad, look at I know you like numbers. Look at these numbers. Niski did 23.2k damage. That's more than the entire enemy team did combined.
Yeah.
Oh my
conversations
God.
we had during this game that may be considered disrespectful. Someone said, this is the type of game I wouldn't mind if a team surrendered. And then you said, it's too early for that. Because it was
what jerk would have said that?
I mean, the thing about this game is not like, oh, it's a smash. We've seen smashes before. This is like a historic smash. The gold lead was the largest they've ever seen. Niski absolutely popped off, but the entire team ran this game completely over.
Yeah,
largest gold lead at 15.
It would be a game that a scrim is surrendered here, by the way. If this was a scrim, we would not have seen the end of the game. It probably would have been over at the 8-minute mark, and then we start again. So 100 Thieves is just doing the due diligence of giving it their all and making sure that Cloud9 has to finish the game.
And that's what you want to see, right? I mean, kudos to 100 Thieves. They're going to press, they're going to push, they're going to try no matter what in the face of what seems like now insurmountable odds against Cloud9. Already looked dire coming into the day, but I think it's becoming increasingly clear that this is a lopsided battle.
Yeah, so mega lopsided. Let's talk a little bit about why it was so lopsided. The level 1 was misexecuted by C9. They attempted an invade, were unable to get it, had to back away. Meteos got 3 buffed. Concurrently, you also had, I think, a mistake by not first picking Aphelios. The fact that they had the opportunity to first pick Aphelios, picked the Syndra, which had no impact in lane whatsoever in slowing down Niski, and they technically knew that from game 1, where they played the same matchup and also had no impact. So don't just do Kog'Maw Taric, which is going to get obliterated by Aphelios Bard, that compounds with the other 2 or 3 things that went wrong. So first game was a stomp. This game was a destruction. I don't have another verb for like what's
obliteration.
Obliteration.
But
I couldn't think of a good word. So what I actually did was I spent the last like 5 minutes of the game drawing something. And so this is a visual representation of where I feel like this series is at this point.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah. Our producer said we might not be able to see it in the little like quarter.
Can you see it
box,
well?
But I feel like this is clear. Yeah.
They won an Emmy. The graphics team we have won an Emmy. And I always try and bring that up whenever I draw my crappy paint things. That I convince them to let me run on air.
So you're not on this
team.
challenge. You're not on this.
No, I did not get the Emmy. I'm pretty sure.
This is Mark's.
It's my contribution
for trying to join the graphics team in future weeks. Well, let's talk then a little bit about maybe what the ace up 100 Thieves sleeve could be here going into game 3. We already kind of talked about how difficult this will be for them, but Jat, you said, I wish they had first picked out Aphelios away. Well, good news with the new playoff format. The loser of the previous game actually gets side selection. So in this case, while 100 Thieves got side selection for the last game, they get it again here in game 3, and they've chosen blue side. So they'll have that opportunity to do what you're asking.
Yeah, and I'm a little surprised. I'm actually very surprised that they didn't just do it in game 2, because you're only ever going to beat a team as good as C9 by playing your best and trying to just get Aphelios Nautilus for the bottom lane and play somehow through that. It's just got to be their best chance to win, even if they get it. I think they still probably lose, but that's the adjustment I think they'll make for game 3.
Crumbs, any other thoughts on adjustments for 100 Thieves coming into game 3 and what might give them an upside shot of coming out?
So the Aphelios is the first one, and the second one is for Ryoma. Enough of the Syndra priority. I understand why Syndra is valuable. She's very safe in a lot of matchups, but he's been so much better, or at least able to fall behind and find plays to come back with other picks. So Zoe's, LeBlanc's. I want to see him on these picks. And I know that if he loses lane, at least he's going to give you something after. When he loses lane on Syndra, he's doing nothing because he can't be mobile. So I need to see him get out of the lane and help his side lanes.
Yeah, I love the Zoe takeaway if it's possible, because Niski has been basically the best Zoe in the league the entire time, but Ryoma's is pretty good, and so you can kind of get a 2-for-1, like you're saying, where you're denying Niski maybe his best champion this split, getting it to Ryoma, who can then, even if he doesn't dominate lane or they fall behind, he can maybe set up some picks for the team.
Niski has said...
Yeah, now we talked about...
that Niski has said in interviews that Zoe is his best and most try-hard champion. Like, when he picks that, it's when he's giving it his all. And already 2 games in a row, C9 picks this against 100 Thieves.
Well, we knew, though, coming into the day that Ryoma and Niski matchup was probably the most lopsided. In fact, we were inferring that that was probably the reason why C9 likes this matchup against 100 Thieves. The matchups, though, that we were looking at that we felt maybe were a little bit more even were the top side and the jungle. And I want to return to this conversation, particularly around Meteos and Someday, 2 guys who have so much experience in these hard-hitting series and who haven't quite shown us, what we've seen from them in the past, their true carry potential. So what would be the fix here in game 3, or for Meteos to really get a handle on this game against Blabber?
I mean, honestly, they tried it in game 2. It would be to try some type of early path to at least throw Blabber on the back foot, because it's not going to be easy to do organically within the flow of the game when your lanes are so outclassed, which seems to be what C9 is doing. So actually, I wouldn't mind if 100 Thieves tried another risky invade in the early game, because I think that's their best chance. And I also just want to credit Licorice for showing up so far in this series straight up. Like, we've talked so much about Draft and Aphelios and Syndra and Zoe, but really, like, if the other team is just better players, sometimes there's not that much you can do. And I think that's mostly what we've seen from C9 this game. But to answer your question, more early invades, and somebody's got to step up against Licorice if they want to have a chance.
We'll see if 100 Thieves can do it. Cloud9 is sitting in pretty position, 2-0 lead in this best of 5, looking to shut out 100 Thieves. That said, we're heading into game 3 at the end of this break, and so we'll see you when we return here for what could be series point of Cloud9 versus 100 Thieves. See you soon.
I have been expecting you.
And I brought you a gift so you can fight properly. Red Bull.
Oh,
How nice.
of you.
But also
rather
stupid.
Mine.
Mine.
No, mine.
No, mine.
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 Red Bull gives you wings.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the third and what could very easily be final game of this series here between Cloud9 and 100 Thieves. Game 1 looked good. Game 2 looked great for Cloud9, and you can only expect them to keep up that tempo here in the third.
Record-breakingly great for Cloud9, in fact. And Captain Flowers, every game of League of Legends starts in Champ Select.
Yes,
so
sir.
there are some adjustments that we want 100 Thieves to make in Champ Select. Start off by not giving over Ornn, Aphelios, and Zoe in the first 3 picks to Cloud9. One of those problems, 2 of those problems are now off the board as Cloud9 banned Ornn themselves, and the Aphelios is banned. So things may be looking up.
So I am very happy. After my desk slapping rant at the end of last game, it appears 100 Thieves are on the same page as me. The Aphelios banned away. Cloud9 banned out the Ornn because they didn't want it to be first picked by 100 Thieves. And 100 Thieves are immediately picking up one of those 80 carries that has been banned in the 2 previous games for Cody Sun. They want him on this Varus, and I'm excited to see what he can do with it.
Yeah, definitely. It's a strong laning champion. That's one of the things that we're looking for 100 Thieves as well. So we can see what they decide to pair the Varus with. Tahm Kench, obviously, is definitely one of the most prominent in North America. Does come at the cost of Zoe and Ezreal. So Cloud9, with just 2 picks, already have massive poke damage. I see your eyes getting big.
Are they being...
Maybe they know you're casting the game.
Hold on.
You gonna debate Flowers? Will Flowers be baited today? And yes, he
damn it.
will. It's just too easy, my friend. They will go with my suggestion instead, the Tahm Kench. And the troll continues.
They're all just hovering it. This is the Skarner salute. Well, at least their hearts are in the right places. Cloud9.
Hey, you said they were on the same page. That's the only page of the Captain Flowers book that I know.
That's true.
The Skarner
I
page.
mean, doing that, they're on the same line, the same word, the same letter as me if they're reading that book. But Cloud9 has responded. They got 2 powerful poke champions. Make it 3 with the Yuumi there. This champion can be so effective at keeping everybody alive or allowing them to chase down fleeing opponents.
Let me ask you this, Flowers. Would you like some more poke with your poke? Because
yes, sir.
Yuumi
I would.
Ezreal Zoe is about as much as you can fit into a comp without having it fall apart from too much poke. Now they need some sort of crowd control. You need either like Gragas Disengage, which is banned out. Trundle Pillars even can sometimes help set up poke landing. But they're actually going to need some sort of frontline now to throw out the spells from.
All right, Cloud9 still has to... They're going to have to play a different top laner this time around. The past 2 games, they have been very fortunate to have the Ornn for themselves. It's been incredibly powerful so far. This split brings a lot of advantages to the table, but I will be very interested in seeing what FLICKR wants to go for this time around, considering both teams still have top laners left to pick, and top lane is a very volatile lane in the nature of many of its matchups have some pretty bad counters. I would expect Cloud9 to pick their jungler first and leave that last pick open for a counter pick opportunity there for FLICKR. And a lot of junglers banned out here in the second half with the ban phase. Olaf, Trundle, Rek'Sai all removed from the pool.
Now, Olaf, I kept talking about, no longer an option. The Trundle Pillars are not going to be there for Cloud9 either. That's one of those things, at long range, you can just throw it up and it helps Zoe and Ezreal be able to land skill shots. Yuumi doesn't need any help because you can control it. It's kind of broken.
This Pantheon
I do think
has been banned in the previous games as well, and now Blabber's going to have this available.
And 100 Thieves, they need to be thinking about drafting hard engage. How are they going to get to the Zoe, to the Ezreal, to the Yuumi? Because that is the only option that they have left now. They need some hard engage to allow this LeBlanc to get their damage off. Jarvan is one piece, but Jarvan is only one piece to the puzzle. Arcane Shift easily will get the Ezreal out of that, so they're going to need to follow it up with something else.
Well, that's not exactly something that can lock down an Ezreal. I mean, if you can manage to get Arcane Shift beforehand, yeah, Jarvan can get some things done, But this team comp from 100 Thieves looks much more adept at making picks, using Tom Kench to bring himself and somebody else around the map, using LeBlanc to show up for that instant burst of massive damage. In terms of their actual engage in a 5v5, they appear a little bit limited, and it's not the Q spamming champion that I was hoping for, but Gallop, Cloud9 is bringing some thunder to the Rift here with the Hecarim locked in for Licorice in the top side.
And this is one of the oldest kind of classic counters to Aatrox, which Licorice was one of the early adopters of. Hecarim
versus
with
Haunter,
the extra, with the extra move speed, Hecarim is very good at dodging the sweet spots of the Qs from Aatrox. Plus, since Hecarim has that extra move speed, doesn't have to take Flash in the top lane, you can take Ignite to cut the healing, actually kill the Aatrox. This is one of my favorite specific lane counter picks. Cloud9 trying to flex on him. Licorice gonna defend his first place all LCS spot once again.
Yeah. And that Hecarim versus Aatrox matchup, I specifically remember because it was the first time that I had seen the Hecarim used as a counter pick to the champion, and Licorice played it so well. I want to see if he can run it back here today, because he has definitely been the better top laner on the day in the first 2 games. So Hecarim with Teleport and Ignite, of course it is gankable, especially early on. We know Jarvan has some very potent level 2 and level 3 ganks, particularly against an opponent that has no Flash. This could be very, very deadly here if Meteos can get involved. But now let's see how the bottom lane goes, because we have a sneaky play that might be coming out here from C9.
Don't walk into that bush.
Well, here comes your stun. Here comes your follow-up. There goes your Drowsy, and the damage. Babu! First blood, C9.
Dude, they can't even let him have 1 minute of calm time for 100 Thieves. Before the 1 minute mark, Cloud9 already winning the game.
That's not
yikes.
Very, yeah, that's a yikes. That's exactly the way to describe it. And they played it so well here too. Let's take another look.
Okay. This is one of your favorite calls, the lick in the bush. But this one...
Okay.
This one turns right around on him. Cloud9 are there in the bush, and they will not be stopped by the lick.
Well, that was well done by C9, but now 100 Thieves are looking to strike back. Unfortunately for them, they're right on a ward.
It's doomed.
Pantheon moving around. He's got all 5 stacks ready to go there on the passive. Drowsy connects. Remember, Jarvan is not able to get over the wall. He does not have the E and the Q. Licorice taken very low. Licorice exploded, and things go well here for 100 Thieves. Cloud9 overestimate what they can do, and with the enemy top laner down, that means 100 Thieves have priority over the red buff, and this is a big early win for them.
It's not doomed. Licorice is thinking, we win these? Question mark. He has got no flash on Hecarim. He went right into 100 Thieves, and even though this is a problem with level 1s very often that you'll see when... Oh, never mind. We'll get more action.
Okay, Niski now under pressure, but Meteos gets some good damage. No real kill pressure here yet, though.
Yeah, I mean, Jarvan is very good at getting very quick trade damage like that. Electrocute proc plus, or excuse me, he doesn't have Electrocute. It's just the passive from Martial Cadence. All you need is that 1 auto for a big chunk of damage. Got that off, but back to the level 1. Even if you have the enemy team surrounded, it's sometimes more difficult. It's like when you corner a wild animal, it can be more ferocious, because if 100 Thieves are grouped up like that, they get to focus fire Licorice, and because the rest of Cloud9 with Blabber and Niski were spread out on the other side, they did not have the same focus fire in their damage for level 1s, and 100 Thieves actually are able to have a good jungle start for once in the series, with Meteos taking that red buff, going red to red on Jarvan, getting some damage down on Niski as well. Maybe this one will have a different story for the early game.
It's also nice for Sunday, right? Because now Licorice doesn't have the chance to use that TP to trade aggressively early, TP back into lane and be ready to go. Blabber forced to flash over the wall now as Ryoma attaches the chain. Very, very nice moves here early on from 100 Thieves. This is looking like a different team.
Much more focused here. Meteos going to be able to take up the crab as well. He can try and go for the double scuttle just head back up to the top part of the map and the strong lane that you're referencing. Cody Sun and Stunt playing very aggressively down here on Sven and Vulcan.
Sven and Vulcan with the Ezreal Yubi combo. We talked about the poke power, but if they do get caught out here, there is a lot of trading power with Cody Sun and Stunt if the Tahm Kench is able to close that distance. Meteos is farming up the top side, Scuttle Crab, so he's got priority over this area. You can see Blabber's hanging around, but he has fallen behind here on this Pantheon. Once level 6 comes around, I'm going to be keeping a close eye on him, similar to what we did with the Nocturne, because I think Pantheon falls into a pretty similar category where, since he's a champion who likes to build damage, you can't really afford to fall too far behind in the game, and your ultimate's a big part of what you can do. So I'm definitely going to be on ult watch for him this game.
Yeah, thankfully for Pantheon, with the changes where you get your directional immunity, even later into the game, he doesn't fall off as hard because you get to buy that time of stolen tankiness, basically, where you are immune to damage. So you have a little bit more options, but I definitely agree. The early game is where you want to shine on a champion like Pantheon, and Blabber has dominated the early games of this series thus far versus 100 Thieves, versus Meteos. To be honest, Blabber, with the most outstanding stats of any LCS jungler ever, he has the most kills per game of any jungler to ever play in the LCS, on top of having the highest win rate. Right now, though, he's headed into 2 players.
And he is jumped on as Stunt and Meteos find the initial damage, and Cody Sun shows up just in time to have the money put right where 100 Thieves want it, in his pocket. With that pickup of the enemy jungler, 100 Thieves are on the drink.
Is this it, Captain Flowers? 100 Thieves digging deep. They've taken the early game here by force off of the red buff invade into bottom side transition for Meteos, resulting in a dragon on top of the gold lead and some lanes that they can actually play aggressively off in the mid game too. LeBlanc is very good at setting up ganks onto Zoe. Jarvan with the ultimate is very good at setting up ganks onto Hecarim. At best for the Hecarim, it would have to be an ult for ult trade if Licorice has his available to get out.
Ryoma loses half HP there from a trade from Niski. Looks to strike back here while some of the cooldowns aren't available for Zoe, but doesn't get nearly as much damage in retaliation. Blabber still only level 4 here on this Pantheon. With Stunt and Meteos moving up yet again, he has to fall back and yield control over this zone. Meteos stepping forward, looking to make the play on the Niski. Flash away from the Cloud9 mid laner, who's going to try to be kiting this one out. TP coming in now to force C9 to back away, and once again, it's Blabber who's in a tough spot. It's Someday coming to collect, and it's Meteos who grabs the kill.
Meteos trying to attack Blabber and his stats. Very well done here, 400 Thieves. Someday uses the teleport to come down as well and should be able to get back for the majority of those minions.
Cody Sun backing in the bottom lane. Stunt will do what he can to try to buy some extra time here and prevent that wave from colliding. Ryoma still didn't get a chance to back even after they made the play in the mid lane, so he's low on health, low on mana, doesn't have a lot that he can do with that right now. Has to go back to base, no TP to return, so it will be a little bit of lost farm there for him in the mid lane. Niski trying to fight for these chickens here, just be as obnoxious as he can on the Zoe pick.
Yeah, it's very annoying when the enemy mid laner picks up a smite, comes into your jungle, and can just do that in front of your face. Definitely commiserate with Meteos there, but he's so much happier, Meteos that is, at how the way this game is going compared to the rest of the series. So keep an eye at if he can continue that process. Someday, of course, is the obvious area that you would want to try and work off of, and we'll see if him and Ryoma can invade, get maybe some deeper vision on the red quadrant.
Meteos heading towards the top side on the Jarvan. Has level 6, no level 6 for Blabber, and remember that even if these two get into a skirmish with one another, it is an immediate advantage for Meteos because of the fact that his ultimate is combat ready at a moment's notice. Blabber will have to initiate things on his own terms if he wants to get value out of his. And with Someday's lane control over the top side, Meteos and Someday can easily take this Rift Herald. They'll grab that one 8.5 minutes into the game. Plenty of time to use it for all sorts of plays. And Niski
will once again be pressured by extra people in his lane. Stunt and Meteos moving around a lot to shadow Ryoma and help him have a better time. The past 2 games have been pretty rough, and they want to stop that here in game 3.
And it's purely because of 100 Thieves keeping Blabber down. They're able to get this Rift Herald because once you're this far behind on the Pantheon, you're forced to farm your jungle. Pantheon is a champion that greatly excels at winning these early skirmishes, trying to go for these guaranteed stun plays with your laner. But because Meteos and 100 Thieves deliver the 2 deaths and get him behind, he has to farm the jungle. So Meteos gets the Rift Herald, and now he's got options.
Meteos was thinking about the bottom lane there, but again, unless Ezreal blows Arcane Shift, there's not a lot he can do. So Blabber will once again be returning to the bottom side. Cloud9 was aware that Ryoma and Meteos were both looking to make some sort of a move down there, so they want to be ready for the counter dive should it come out. FLICKR controlling the top side river, clears out a control ward. Niski once again able to find a trouble bubble onto his mid lane opponent, finds most of his health bar, and as Meteos moves in to try to stop Niski's aggression, Blabber's immediately there to counter.
And as you could see, the added factor here, Licorice was the first one to roam. Hecarim was in the river and could easily join for Cloud9. So Meteos calls off on the play. Ryoma sustains a decent amount of damage. And he's still looking. Meteos just roaming from the middle of the river down to bottom river. He really wants to force something.
Sven and Vulcan will stay very safe here as Meteos walks forward. I would expect this to be a Rift Herald play. There we go. Eyes summoned up. They'll try to take down these first 2 plates before Shelly gets her charge off for maximum value. They won't have enough time to get the second one entirely gone. Shelly's charge connects. Then we'll need 1 additional auto attack to pop that eyeball. And the Cloud9 bottom lane turret is still standing, but just barely. Blabber looking to get himself out now as the Tom Kench brings in the cavalry, and 100 Thieves will once again try to make a move. Flash out from Blabber there to resist the dive coming through from Meteos and the Cataclysm. 100 Thieves will take that summoner spell as the true shot for Raj strikes Vulcan at the very back end of the fight and picks up the second kill of the game here for Cloud9. Cody Sun finding a nice chains of corruption down onto Niski, but the stopwatch is there, and Meteos will not find the counterattack he is looking for. C9, they find the pick onto the enemy support, they will force the jungle and mid lane combo away, and they will find the rights to the Drake here as the second one spawns.
And we finally hear something from the C9 bottom lane. Ezreal Yuming been farming away. Sven gets the sniper kill onto Stunt. And some extra gold. That's 2 kills now for this Ezreal. Plus the Cole is going to cash in and 38 more minion kills. They are going to become an operational poke composition fairly shortly here. So while the early game has been a breath of fresh air, 400 Thieves, and a welcome change to the way that the series has gone, we have yet to see the power of this C9 composition really unleashed when the Ezreal, Yuumi, Zoe trifecta of skill shot poke starts to come out.
And checking back in on the top lane here, Someday at an immediate advantage. You can see the Black Cleaver's already completed up against Licorice, who has the Ninja Tabby to resist some of the damage, but other than that, only a Sheen in inventory against that completed item on Someday. It's not really a comparison you would want to make here in a 1v1, but Licorice is already actually winning it. The Ignite does so much to help him out there, and Blabber shows up to lend a helping spear, or a KS, whatever you want to call it, as C9 finds their 3rd kill of the game.
Yeah, that's going to be some tower plates on it afterwards. It does open up bottom side as a possible point of attack for 100 Thieves, though, because that's 2 members for C9 on top side. They expend a lot of resources there in order to get that kill, and it is going to result in some extra damage down here. Sven and Vulcan playing it quite well, though, slipping in, trying to deal some damage even on weak side, and Niski lands a bubble.
The Drowsy, the damage following through, but a nice devour from Stunt means it's not going to be a Hail Mary from Niski today. I like the ulti trade there. Vulcan just immediately getting aggressive, seeing that the minions were destroyed. He tries to lock somebody down. He gets Cody Sun's ult in retaliation. That could have gone real sketchy real quick as a teleport comes in now for the side of Cloud9. Meteos may be the target here. Licorice looking to make that Hecarim play, but over the wall comes Meteos with the Cataclysm, and C9's efforts are for naught.
Really intelligent by Minos. I see so many players make the mistake of trying to EQ when the Hecarim is coming for them, but Hecarim E can knock you out of it. You are unstoppable during the Jarvan ultimate though, so Minos doesn't waste any time, just ults Licorice to ult him, get unstoppable, make sure he doesn't get knocked back, and does survive there. So intelligent play here from Minos, heads up, doesn't get caught, trades his ultimate for a very long cooldown in the teleport summoner spell that Licorice had to use in attempting that gank.
Very nice shutdown of the Cloud9 War Machine that we honestly have just seen run amok in the previous games. In game number 2, at 14 minutes in, the gold advantage for Cloud9 was like, what, 8,000 or something similar? It was really way too much, and in this game it's about 500. 100 Thieves have just done such a good job of changing things up from those first 2 games, countering the Cloud9 aggression at the level 1 at the red buff, and making things work better for them here in this 3rd game. This game is competitive, and that's what we want to see from these teams going up against Cloud9. Do we expect them to beat Cloud9 in a 5-game series? I don't. But do I want to see them make changes and make adaptations that prove that they can be competitive in this environment, not just against Cloud9, but to show they have a chance against the other teams as well? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I do still think they have a very tough road ahead of them because, like we talked about in Champ Select, they don't have really good hard engage versus C9 team, and Cloud9 make a pick attempt.
Sven trying to get the True Shot Barrage on to stunt there, not quite able to get it. The TP was going to come down to the bottom lane, but it's interrupted, and that just means it is free money for the Cloud9 roster. Sven kept alive, and a double kill over to Blabber. You try to shut him down. It just doesn't happen. I believe it was Licorice using the onslaught of shadows in the top lane to stop Sumday's TP and keep that rolling for Cloud9.
Yep, definitely took a decent amount of damage in doing it, so he does have to back off his tower in the top lane. And someday we'll be able to push the minion wave in, but that's definitely worth it. Cloud9 get the 2 kills on bottom side for it. And a bunch of extra map pressure. Niski now looking for a possible roam up here with Someday, allows Licorice to get back in there and not give up so many minions.
Stunt using the Tahm Kench ulti there just to bring Ryoma back to the mid lane faster, catch some more of these minions, prevent some more of the damage to the turret. Niski jumps forward, he finds a trouble bubble, but he won't get the paddle star afterwards. Blabber having to run away now as Stunt and Meteos look to collapse. Blabber again in trouble here on the front line, trying to buy as much time as he can, still forced to flash over the wall. Vulcan shows up, applies some heals to his jungler, and Niski is still just throwing these projectiles all day long. Blabber marching forward now with the Yuumi on his back. He's feeling confident. The heals continue to pour through as Sven takes control over the Drake and immediately starts the encounter up. He wants to make sure that himself and his team can keep this one under their control. That is going to be the first Ocean Drake of the game taken for Cloud9. They are now 2-1 in that Drake count.
And these Oceans are really important because of the fact that C9 has so many poke abilities with these long-range skill shots. Whichever team gets that regeneration is going to have a big advantage in the Siege Wars. Here's another look at the attempt down bottom. Really good setup there. Sven's able to Arcane Shift in. You get the Yuumi root. Blabber ultimate from Pantheon. Means they've got 4 members down there. And then on the mini-map, we could see Hecarim went in, stopped the teleport from Sunday. That was about right in front of his turret. And C9 are able to finish up those last 2 kills. Looking forward, though, what this means, with this extra money going over to them and the subsequent Dragon, Cloud9 now have actually not only more poke tools, but they have the regeneration to deal with, oh, did LeBlanc get a chunk out on one of us going in for a distortion combo? Did one of these Varus Qs actually land? They can shrug that off a lot easier now with Yuumi heals as well as an Ocean Dragon and continue to just fire their own shots.
But can they keep this mid lane tier 1 alive? Niski says yes, as it's just barely hanging on, but the Paddle Star wave clear is enough to get rid of all those minions at once. Meteos and Ryoma do have control over the top side river to grab themselves yet another Scuttle Crab. 18 minutes in means there's still no Baron on the table. Rift Herald not alive there in that top side pit, and considering the Drake was just taken, it'll still be another 3.5 minutes before we see that one either.
Sven pushing up here in the mid lane. The Ezreal, he's already got the Sheen. He's got the Muramana fully evolved. He also has the QSS ready to go. He knows that the way he gets caught in this game is some sort of a LeBlanc chain, some sort of a Varus ultimate. That's pretty much it. There's no world where Aatrox should be able to reach
chains.
There's no... Exactly.
There's a corrupting chain and the LeBlanc chain.
Well, he's trying to stay away from both chains because there's not really anything the rest of the team should be able to do to him. I like this approach. He felt that he had the spare money, and he was able to afford avoiding that loss condition. Now, Cloud9 is moving plenty of bodies up here into the top side. Blabber, Sven, and Vulcan hanging out in the river as Niski applies the pressure here to the tier 1 turret. Ryoma again on the losing end of these trades, and the rest of Cloud9 going to back away. They don't have eyes on where 100 Thieves is, except for Meteos there, who was clearing out the ward. So Cloud9 must be aware that the counterattack is coming.
And this is going to become a very big priority for both teams. Getting these invades so that they can set up flank wards. Another ult from FLICKR going for the all-in.
Wish trying to find that solo kill. Gets half the HP of his opponent, but it is an ult trade for ult trade, so at the end of the day, FLICKR comes out on top there, trying to find the last little bit of damage onto that tier 1. Cloud9 seem to once again just be in control of the game, and that's the thing about this team. It's a question that we weren't able to answer much throughout the course of the regular split. But it was a question that we got to see some faint looks into. Specifically, the first game against TSM was the first one that I recall them playing from behind. It was the one where Blabber got them into a rough fight in the top half of the river. A few minutes into the game, they end up falling behind. TSM has an advantage, but Cloud9 is able to claw their way back. This isn't just a team that can only play from ahead. Even if you get those early leads, the rest of the teams in the LCS just don't seem to have the ability to build the momentum that they need.
And it should be noted that though we have seen FLICKR only use the Onslaught of Shadows ultimate on Hecarim in these 1v1s with Someday, these short range ones, it was buffed in a team fighting aspect on the last patch. So they did increase the maximum fear duration by a whole half second, but that is based on the distance that you cast it at. So that's why I'm highlighting the flank wards for both teams, because not only does Someday and Meteos, obviously 100 Thieves want to find a flank and engage on the poke comp, but C9 have that option with FLICKR as well, and that option becomes even better, having blown the flash of Tahm Kench, which is the get out of jail free savior card for the Varus.
Yuumi LT won't get a whole lot, where we saw Vulcan just try to attempt to play with it there. Cloud9 happy to continue to play this game nice and slowly. Cody's son with the Blade of the Ruin King and that Runaan's Hurricane will do so much in the team fights if he can get close enough for it. You have to remember that against a poke comp, it's Zoe and Ezreal's job to stay out of the range of that Varus unless they are going for a kill shot. Yumu's Ghostblade on Blabber as well will provide that extra lethality to make it so he can find the damage he needs onto these backline carries of 100 Thieves. FLICKR and Someday once again here in the 1v1. FLICKR doing well to avoid the Qs early on. Blabber's made his way up, but so has Meteos. Considering FLICKR is taken very low, Blabber tries to flash in to save his teammate in time, but he won't be able to do it, and that just means he's stuck in the dunk bucket. It's a 2-0, and 100 Thieves win the fight.
Meteos doesn't have a global, but he's there for Someday. Now he's going to have to get out of there because he's toast.
Nah, take a nap, buddy. That's a shutdown over there for Niski, cleaning one up on the back end of the fight, but well done there from 100 Thieves at the start to make sure they won it. Now Niski's going for a solo kill onto Ryoma. Ryoma tries to make an outplay there, but he won't quite find it. Barely keeping himself alive, 100 HP remaining. And considering the enemy jungler is dead and the enemy mid laner has 100 HP, that is the next Drake going the way of Cloud9 most likely. You can see Cody and Stunt trying to fight for this one. TP coming out now as the Chains of Corruption make their way onto Niski's Zoe. The counterattack is there, and Vulcan is able to provide the CC onto Stunt. FLICKR makes his way towards the enemy lines, but Someday's also coming around from behind the Drake pit. Blabber has arrived, and Meteos is working his way in from the enemy base. Now that Cloud9 has Smite secure potential, they're going to be looking to take this one down before Meteos is able to make his way into the fight, and Blabber's got it. That's going to be Drake secured. Niski with the Blade of the Ruin King active has the ability to provide the CC, and FLICKR is going to be charging in, but Blabber's already been taken down. FLICKR grabbing the kill onto Stunt, still looking to maybe make some more happen. Meteos jumping in with the EQ combo. Someday over the wall, providing some Qs, providing some CC, providing providing some suppressing fire, but it's Licorice with the onslaught of shadows, summoning the cavalry to dive into the lines of 100 Thieves. Cloud9 now disengaging. 100 Thieves will do the same. Meteo's so close to dead, but close doesn't count here. Niski completely unafraid in this game as the true shot barrage. Field goal is good.
Great scrap there, actually. In the end, it's heartbreaking 400 Thieves. This game being the game that they have shown the most fight in, the best play in. Cloud9 actually get the Ocean Dragon, getting them set up for Soul Point, and Ryoma is sent back to base right there as earlier we saw Niski winning the 1v1 versus Simmons. Sven tries his hand, also comes out on top.
Cloud9 on Soul Point now. We're at the point of the game that becomes so rough for the team that is not on Soul Point. When Baron's up and that Drake is also threatening a Soul, especially the Ocean Soul, the one that is referred to by pretty much everyone as the most powerful in the game, you're now stuck in an incredibly difficult situation. Do you try to just trade it off and go for Baron, which will take you much longer than a single, simple Ocean Drake? Or do you try to contest for that Ocean Drake objective that honestly means practically nothing to you other than preventing Soul?
I mean, yeah, that could mean everything. Preventing a Soul to a poke team. Ocean Soul, it gives you life and mana back when you damage something. Someday might be taking some damage himself. Hops over towards the back of the Dragon Pit. Licorice is going to find him.
Someday. Oh man, that's not where you want to be, buddy. Blabber's coming in now. He's got the ulti to follow up, but the party's already over by the time that he arrives. He got there late, but now he's in time for the after party. And the after party goes to 1, 2, 3, 4 mid lane road. And that's exactly where all of Cloud9 is going to be heading now. Looking to take down that tier 1 turret, the last remaining tier. Well, it's not even the last remaining tier 1. That's one on the top side. Still just barely hanging on as C9 will look for the tier 2 following it up. We'll see if they're able to take this one down. Stunt nearly killed off. Thick Skin popped there on the very back end of things. Meteo's hanging out on the flank, but not really a chance to go in there. You don't have the backup. You don't have the team. Ryoma, however, he'll grab a tier 2 on the top side, making sure they get something in trade.
That was a rowdy mid lane party, Flowers. That's one that 100 Thieves hosted, and C9 came and broke all their furniture. 2 towers destroyed before they left the party, and just like that, they're gone back at home. 100 Thieves trying to figure out why they lost so much money in this trade. Even though Ryoma does get one on the top side for them, Cloud9 continue to push this game state forward. Now, again, the next goal is trying to set up the wards to actually try and find that flank and deliver the killing blow. 1 minute and 30 seconds left on Ocean Soul's arrival. This is going to mean everything for 100 Thieves, trying to deny an Ocean Soul from C9.
And the summoner spells are going to be ready to go by then. 1 minute and 30 seconds should be enough time for Niski's flash, definitely enough time for Blabber's, probably enough time for Licorice's teleport along with Sven's. Cody's son, I think, will just barely not have his flash ready to go, but everything else should be available. Problem is that Cody's son flash is so important. 400 Thieves, it means Stunt will have to be just so ready with the Devour, because if he's even a split second late, Cody gets deleted by this poke.
And you see Sven clearing out any of these wards behind them that could be used by 100 Thieves to get an opening. There we go.
Well, Devour or not, it doesn't matter when they kill the Kench and then kill you too. C9, they find the opportunity to use the Pantheon. They make the collapse, they make the engage, and they aren't done yet. Meteos is the double kill for Sven. He's got the Yumi attached, and with the cat in his backpack, he has all the confidence in the world to chase Ryoma and Someday away. Cloud9 have control over the game. They have control over the soul. It is 20 seconds until these members of 100 Thieves respawn, and that means Cloud9, they're not even worried about going for the Ocean Soul. They know they can take the Baron. All you do is have Niski hang around the Drake in case 100 Thieves tries to take it, throw some trouble bubbles out there, send them on a nice nap, and buy time as the rest of the team secures the big purple worm.
Yeah, only hope here for 100 Thieves. You see them scrambling towards the Ocean Drake. They're going to try and rush it down. Teleport used as well. Cloud9 will finish the Baron, but can 100 Thieves burn that dragon down before they get there?
Ryoma onto Niski. When the LeBlanc jumps you, it only does 20% of your HP. You're feeling pretty all right about it. Drake slain by 100 Thieves. Ocean Soul prevented. TP's coming in. Licorice into the middle of 4, and that is a disastrous encounter for 100 Thieves. Stunt will be the second to fall. Ryoma's clone will join him. It's a 2 for 0. Cloud9 have lost the soul, but remember, they are a 5-man squad with a Baron buff and a 5v3 here for the next 30 seconds.
Yeah, Soul successfully denied, but it's going to cost them their base. Cloud9. Let's see how they push in here. Yuumi onto the Zoe to heal him back up. I honestly think they can push for Nexus here if they go quick enough. 15 seconds left on Cody-san.
Inhibitor number 1 down. Cody and Blabber up in sub 10 seconds now. Cloud9 don't want to risk anything. They'll decide to head on back.
All right, 1 inhibitor down. They can go for a full reset with 2 minutes left on the Baron buff. They can get back out to the map. There's a bunch of standing gold in the top side since outer turret and secondary turret are both still up. So if you just go collect those 2 turrets with the remaining minute and a half of your Baron buff, then Cloud9 will be very happy with all of their riches. The Zoe now, got the death cap, big burst here, gonna come out. Maybe we'll see Niski upgrade that ring once again into a Medjai's.
That's highly
think it
possible.
would actually be worth it. It's already got 10 stacks, and I don't see them losing out on any kills.
Niski has just had, honestly, an incredible series on this Zoe. Sven looking for the final Mystic shot to take down the enemy jungler. Blabber's coming in. He's got the Yuumi right on top of him. There's the roots. There's the engage. There's the team fight. There's the potential counterattack, but not so fast. Here come the thundering hooves from behind, and the Hecarim arrive. It's Cody's son and Someday heading for the hills as Niski jumps over the wall, and Sven is there to go unstoppable and bring down Someday. Paddlestar won't find the mark, but Cody is forced to hobble back to the Nexus alone as everyone from Cloud9 barrels towards those turrets.
Well, question answered. That is why Cloud9 chose 100 Thieves in the first round of the playoffs. They will be victorious. Congratulations.
A swift 3-0 for the number 1 seed coming into the playoffs. The longest game took 31 minutes. Niski 4-0-12 on the Zoe. Sven 5-0-10 on this Ezreal. It was the best performance of the day by 100 Thieves by a mile, and it still wasn't enough to deal with Cloud9.
Absolute clap heard around the world here as Cloud9 demolish 100 Thieves, looking just as strong as they did during the regular split. Cloud9 are still on fire, my friend. I'm excited as we progress to see if they can make the run. It has been so long since this Cloud9 organization has actually won an LCS title, even though they've been one of the most popular teams, one of the top teams of the region. They haven't actually got the trophy in years.
Well, if they keep playing like this, it'll be a hard task for anyone to take them down. But for now, that's it here for the two of us. We'll catch y'all at another time, but right now we're going to throw things back to our friends at the State Farm Analyst Desk to break down that Cloud9 win. Gentlemen, take it away.
Thank you, Captain Flowers, and welcome to the State Farm Analyst Desk. Gentlemen, a 3-0 series for Cloud9. Perhaps the most competitive of the 3 games was the one we just witnessed, but I like the way that Kobe put it. That series was the clap heard around the world. Cloud9 just smacking down the competition.
Yeah, that was not the hardest series to predict I've ever had. It was kind of...
Nailed it.
Yeah, the painting, it was on the wall, whatever you want to say. It was still...
Yes, Mark, the painting was on the wall.
Some euphemism you can throw on there. It was kind of obvious what was going to happen. I still think C9 was more dominant than anyone would have thought, though. Just how strong their second game was, the strong points that we were hoping to see out of 100 Thieves never really materialized. Licorice was incredible. So all those things made it, completely crushed any fears people might have about a retread of the the Immortals that went 17-1.
And I think we learned a good lesson here about Cloud9 that you can't really pinch Sven. He has enough of a champion pool that doesn't matter what you're playing bot lane, he has an answer.
I completely agree. And they also, it's like 3:30 and the series started at 1, so it was very, very fast.
Yep.
But beyond that, there were a few things that we highlighted at the top of show where C9 had these legendary stats that no one had been able to answer, like 86% Herald percentage and massive First Dragon percentage. And for what it's worth, I think Meteos and 100 Thieves kind of prioritized denying those things, and it didn't matter at all. So, even the second game, which was the biggest 15-minute stomp in LCS this year, it was at such a great cost when they went for those things and C9 was able to pressure elsewhere. Add that to the fact that they were able to play Nocturne jungle, that this last game they played Hecarim top, Ezreal Yuumi bot, not necessarily meta stuff, and they're still winning at a rate and pace nearing records. So this is very encouraging for Cloud9.
Without a doubt, and just kind of continuing to look at some of the team statistics across the games, they had a total of 12 deaths across 3 games in a postseason best of 5 for Cloud9, which is very, very few. That's 4 deaths. That's an average of 4 deaths a game.
One ranked game is 12 deaths.
Exactly. That's my point. That's exactly what I mean. And while there were plenty of stars on the Rift today, and for Cloud9, they always make it hard for us to choose any one particular person to point out. The player of the series today will be picked up by Nisqy in the mid lane. I talked about how the team had 12 deaths across 3 games. Well, Nisqy had 0 of them across all 3 of his games. What a pop-off.
Yeah, and geez, that's 850
That's unbelievable, actually.
Average. I'm just kind of looking at all these stats. That's incredible, man.
Yeah, the damage percent of the first game, kill participation, super high. That's insane.
It is. I mean, you can tell by the lack of words coming out of my analyst's mouth how impressive these stats are for that mid laner. But again, it's so aligned with the expectation of this series coming in that mid lane was going to be perhaps the strongest point for Cloud9, in particular against this 100 Thieves squad. And then when you extend to the other 4 positions on the map, I think that's where Cloud9 really impressed today, because you expected 100 Thieves to challenge a little bit more in the rest of those areas.
I think it fell apart when we got to see that late game of this game 3, and Tom Kench and Varus are sitting in the mid lane, and against any other team, nobody would engage on them. But Cloud9, like that, has Pantheon behind them, a Hecarim as well, and the Yuumi with the Ezreal shifting on top of it. And while 100 Thieves is thinking, we need to set up an objective, Cloud9 already won the fight and has wiped the floor with 100 Thieves. And that decisiveness was not what 100 Thieves was prepared for in this game. They were thinking about denying those stats that we saw earlier, and then Cloud9 can quickly engage like that.
Yeah. That said, this third game was the closest of it. So I do want to talk about 100 Thieves, who is not out of the postseason. Again, this is very different from previous years where it's 1 and you're done. And so normally heads would be hung and that would be the end of the season till summer. But 100 Thieves, they get to retool for a couple days, come back in and try and make the run. So let's talk about moving forward for that number 3 seed before we get back to Cloud9 and perhaps what they'll accomplish through the rest of the postseason.
I'm really curious about what their mentality is after that, because on the one hand, you might be like, okay, that was Cloud9. They're so much better than everyone, all split long. We're not playing them next time. We can easily have a much better performance. And on one hand, that should be an easy mentality to bounce back from. But on the other, you kind of got embarrassed a little bit, in that second game and stuff. And it can sometimes cause some stress and some breaking points where you're just like, we just can't do this. While you even mentally you acknowledge this is C9 we're playing, it can sometimes drag some problems to the surface.
Yeah, I think the weirdest thing to me was the deprioritization of Aphelios this series. The fact that they didn't first pick it, the fact that they were Blue Side and Bandit in Game 3. It's like, what happened in the week of scrims after watching Cody smash with it in week 9 to come here and think we actually can't play this against C9 was weird. So maybe the confidence stuff was already starting to get there. But at the end of the day, Cloud9 swept 100 Thieves. They nearly swept everyone else by going 17-1. They almost swept the regular split. So it's really kind of expected. And I hope with the experience they have on that team with Meteos, Someday, Zix, Papa Smithy, all these people that have been around League for a long time, they can be like, okay, just like calm down. We still have a chance.
Well, we're obviously wildly impressed with Cloud9's performance, and we could probably talk for hours about the different accolades they deserve and how impressive their play has been this split. But I want to hear from one of the players themselves. So to hear more about that series, we're going to hand it off to Latigris, who's standing by for an interview with the Cloud9 jungler.
Hey.
Thank you so much, Dash. Really appreciate it. So happy to be here with Blabber after that amazing victory. So first of all, Blabber, congratulations. Wonderful play from you and the rest of the team. Now, before we went into the match, the State Farm analyst desk shared some words from Reapered about how he believed this was a good stylistic matchup. Do you care to elaborate upon that?
Yeah, I guess we thought that, I guess the reason we chose 100 was we felt like we matched up really well against them. Their strongest player is Someday, and I mean, in almost every game we play versus 100, I mean, Eric pretty much just stomps him. So, like, this year, for example, he solo killed him twice, I think, as Ornn versus GP, and if we're able to shut him down convincingly, then I think it's really simple for us.
So then you as the jungler, since with such dominating performances, it's easy to think, oh, you can focus on your own win conditions. Were you as well paying a lot of attention, making sure that you could shut down Someday, or were you confident in just leaving that for most of the time to the solo laner prowess?
I mean, I'm pretty confident in LCKR's ability to win by himself, so I didn't feel like I needed to impact that lane too much. I mean, generally as a team, we like to focus on winning mid 2v2 and just being able to move around the map together. So that's pretty much just what I focused on this series.
Well, you made an impression with your first pick as well, bringing out Nocturne. Care to walk us through that and just farming junglers in general and their viability?
I think Nocturne is actually pretty good right now, especially when they pick something like Syndra, who's really immobile. If she tries to side lane, she's just going to die. And I think it has a pretty good matchup against Sejuani because I can free farm, can't really punish. So, yeah, I think Nocturne's pretty good right now.
Now, during the regular season, you and a lot of players had expressed an emphasis on improving rather than focusing on the winning record. Did you feel any shift in that mentality now that you're in playoffs where wins matter more than anything?
I mean, we definitely are drafting more like we would draft on stage, I guess. Or like if we're trying our hardest, this is how we would draft, I'd say. Compared to like during the regular split, it was more like let's try out different. Well, after we locked in first, it was like try out different styles that we could pull out anytime in playoffs, but there is always like a style that a team is better at. And I think now we're more focused on playing what we're best at so we can secure the wins.
And you are definitely focused on getting that championship title, something no one on this squad has achieved before. Does that influence your motivation at all?
I think it definitely does. Like we've all never won in NA at least. Sven's won in EU a couple times, but we haven't won in so long. And I think everyone just really badly wants to win, and we're putting a lot of work. And I really hope this is our split.
And the work continues. You know who your next opponent is going to be. You saw EG yesterday. How is your next match going to compare to what we just saw against 100 Thieves?
I think EG is a bit better than 100. I think we'll be able to win, but it probably won't look as easy as it did today, I think. And I mean, I'm also playing against my old teammates, Svenskeren, Kumo, Zazel, so I'm excited for that, and can't wait to beat them.
Well, everyone else is excited as well. Thank you to everyone on C9 for encouraging some spring cleaning with your clean sweep here against 100 Thieves. But for now, let's send it back to the State Farm analyst desk.
Thank you very much, the Tigress. Deserved confidence out of Blabber there as he recaps the dominant series here today and looks ahead towards Evil Geniuses, the next matchup, saying perhaps a tougher opponent, but still very confident moving forward with the way that C9 has played so far and these solo laners that he has around him. I love to hear Blabber giving credit where credit's due about his laners making his job easy.
I completely agree.
Nothing feels better than jungling with lanes that will win without your help. It really is the best thing you could do because you're just free to do whatever you want. It's like, come do this, guys. Let's do this. And you feel like you're as strong as ever. You have so much confidence. And confidence is a big thing when it comes to jungling because if you're not feeling like you can go for a play, you probably won't. And nobody on your team will.
You know, I think that's an aspect of League of Legends that might not get talked about too much, perhaps because it gets into the weeds and the minutia a bit, but this idea of like, as you level up incrementally every little piece of your roster and your team, right? The effect that it has across the rest of the rift, sometimes it's hard to quantify, but in this case, you look at some of that unique pathing that Blabber had that we were calling out from those initial games, and you start to realize this is only possible because of how good the whole team is, them as a unit versus just Blabber being individually good, Jack.
And I think that's one of the reasons that, I mean, when I was making my MVP ballot, it was so difficult because I know that all these individuals on C9 have been performing at such an incredibly high level, but it is difficult to pinpoint it's this guy who's doing it because so much of what this team does in their historically great split so far is as a unit. And sure, you have Licorice occasionally getting the solo kills in the top lane like he did in this series, but really it's all of them working together that's creating these historic gold leads.
Without a doubt, an impressive run here from Cloud9 so far. A very exciting weekend with two of our best of fives already in the books for the postseason. So I want to now turn our attention to the bracket, get a look at what's in store ahead of us, in particular on Tuesday, our next match. That's right, only one day between here and our next best of five in the postseason. Tuesday, we will return. I got to full screen this because my vision is so bad on my own computer. From 4 feet away that I need to full screen this to take a look. But as you can see there, Cloud9 Evil Geniuses, they're not going to play till next Saturday. So instead, what's next on the docket is FlyQuest, the 4 seed, against Golden Guardians, the 6 seed on Tuesday, followed by 100 Thieves, who just took the loss to Cloud9, up against the 5 seed in TSM on Wednesday, the 8th. Gentlemen, let's talk FlyQuest Golden Guardians first. On Tuesday, what are our thoughts on that matchup? Let's start with you.
Probably see Solo starting for FlyQuest here. He was doing so much for the team compared to Viper, and Viper can obviously look at the tape and be like, oh, I should try to do these things as well. So he can improve in that sense, but the team, if they start with him, will have a stronger showing. However, I think Golden Guardians should come into this as favorites. They have more time to prepare. They've seen FlyQuest play already, so they should have a better idea of how to attack the draft and come out swinging.
Crumps is calling Golden Guardians coming in should be considered favorites here. How do you two reconcile that statement?
I'm still going to say FlyQuest is the favorite just based off of the fact that I think that EG FlyQuest series was incredibly close, even though it was only a 4-game series, especially if FlyQuest ends up going with Solo as a starter. But I also would not be shocked if Golden Guardians wins because I think below Cloud9, the middle of the pack was actually everyone else in the LCS. So the difference between 2 and 9 really actually wasn't that huge through most of the split, and Golden Guardians did come into the playoffs on a winning streak, and FlyQuest just lost. So it's going to be, I think, a very competitive Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, I think the point about the closeness of record makes it important to keep in mind also, like the previous couple games, like one of the reasons EG, a lot of the people were saying was favored, was not just higher standings, but a very strong back half of the split where FlyQuest was slipping, and that's why I also can understand why Golden Guardians are a bit of a favorite, but that was a really, really hot weekend for them. And one of the things they've struggled with is consistency. So whether they can pull that out in a full best of 5 a week later where people see, oh, okay, Zoe's probably Golden Glue's best champion. Maybe that should start hitting the ban table or we have a game plan around it. And that's what I want to see from Golden Guardians. FlyQuest, like we all been saying, with Solo, Viper, we got to figure out exactly what's going on there.
All right, there you have it. For Golden Guardians, they've already surprised many by even making it to the postseason based on preseason expectations. But now let's talk about that other matchup that we have coming out. It's 100 Thieves versus TSM. Again, we've just seen 100 Thieves play. There was all that fun talk about whether or not C9 thinks 100 Thieves is the TSM killers. What is our take on how those two teams match up?
I think that in the top side, you have Broken Blade versus Someday, and that's what
Someday
Blabber just told us was the strongest member from 100 Thieves. And if Broken Blade can keep up with Someday, that advantage is already nullified. So that's pretty tough. And then when you look into the other lanes, how many times has Bjergsen bopped Ryoma in lane? That's where I think that TSM has a really strong advantage and would give us the same kind of pressure that Cloud9 just showed against 100 Thieves in the mid 2v2.
And I would want to see bot lane as well, because Cody Sun was one of the good members, didn't get the Aphelios. They deprioritized it for some reason. Kabe and Biofrost have not been great in lane. They haven't been bad, but they haven't been Sven and Vulcan. And so I don't know if you can expect the same performance out of that. So